And here we are. Here she comes to wreck the day.
My ex-wife is here?
None such luck for you, Jimothy.
That would be no luck. There would be no luck in my future.
That'll be a dark night in Texas, buddy. Nobody wants that. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Nobody.
Trying to make us big. Big. Us. It's weird.
No girl will ever say that to us.
Hey guys, welcome to We Watched a Movie, WWAM Video, the show, as we call it. Live streams every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night. And today's Monday, and we have a live stream.
Holy butt chuckles. Happy fucking New Year, you filthy animals. Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's the first time seeing you this year. Wow. We're going to kick it off with a great show. And let's give a round of hands for those never can say never die Philadelphia Eagles. Let's give a hand for those fucking guys. Whoa. What a great team. You know what they are? They represent Rocky. We'll fight till the end. It doesn't matter. What a hunk of shit.
Man, you guys, Jay watched his first NFL game all season last night. All season, right? Because the thing is, your girlfriend, right? She's a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Jay is a Giants fan. And the Giants just so happened to need the Eagles to beat the Washington football team last night to make the playoffs. So Jay watches his first football game all year. And lo and behold, the Philadelphia Eagles, who had no chance of making the playoffs, this was just a game for them, they were within 3 points of the lead. They took out their starting quarterback and put in basically me if I had like a sprained ankle and just fucking sucked the shit out of it, all to get a higher draft pick.
Yeah, dude, it was terrible as fuck.
Painful.
God damn. I don't know who, somebody on Philadelphia made a boatload of money or some shit with somebody bad. They didn't like somebody on New York. They're like, fuck those assholes.
Yeah, man.
Let's get our 6th round draft pick and not worry about it. God, what a travesty that was. And I knew something was wrong, dude. I was like, I haven't watched the game all season. I'm going to watch it, and New York's going to get in. And holy shit, the fucking fairy says, no, guess what? I'm going to give you a dirty cock in your butt because you're bad luck. Don't watch them, son. And I shouldn't have watched them. If I hadn't watched them, maybe none of this would have happened.
Now, me, on the other hand, I had a great fucking football weekend. I mean, the best football weekend I've had in some time. Not only did the Ohio State Buckeyes make it to the championship game against the Alabama Crimson Tide, but they beat those shitty asshole Dabo Swinney fucking Clemson Tigers, who were the bane of my existence. Now, I don't hate the players. Now, granted, this is a college game. You can't hate the players. They're kids. But I hate Dabo Swinney with a fiery passion from down below. And man, it was funny, dude, because Dabo Swinney came out and he said, and I promise we'll talk about movies soon, guys, I promise. He came out and he said, he ranked Ohio State 11th in his poll. And he was like, they don't deserve to be. They only played 6 games because of COVID. And fucking Ohio State beat the shit. Beat the shit out of the Tigers, who have beat the shit out of us the last 2 times we played them in the playoffs. So it was nice. And then my Packers got the 1 seed by beating the Bears on Sunday. It's been a good football weekend for me, dude. You should still watch, though, by the way. You should pick a playoff team and watch, because I enjoyed discussing the game via text with you last night. It was a good time.
I already picked a backup team.
Oh, who?
Buffalo.
You going to root for the Bills?
Well, that's because they're a New York-based team, right? So I'm going to go with that, and I like that. It feels good. And then I'm also going to go with the fact that they are the only team in the history of the NFL that went 4 in a row and lost every single time. Mm-hmm. So they deserve it. However, I will say, honestly,
and I was 3 in a row, but
3 in a row, yeah. But I also like, I just like the narrative. I know nothing will come of it, but I do like Alex Smith has gone through some major shit, dude. I like that guy. He's got a good fucking attitude. Yeah. So if I were to pick a backup other than the Buffalo Bills, it might be Washington.
Yeah, don't do that, Jay, because they got no chance. They fucking suck. The Eagles had to try to lose us last night.
If I were going to go on FanDuel or something, I wouldn't. I'd pick like fucking somebody else.
Well, they got to play the Buccaneers, right? So I'm rooting for Washington too, because Green Bay's got the 1 seed. We got the week off next week, which sucks because there's no Packers football. But we got the 1 seed. We got a bye week. We play the lowest seed that wins. So if Washington football team wins, that means Green Bay gets to play Washington football team at home. That'd be awesome. I don't want to play the Buccaneers. They beat the shit out of us earlier this year. But either way, it's been a great weekend. Marco V. Villatoro, thanks, buddy, for the super chat. He says, Mike, your Green Bay Packers looking really good. Fire. Yeah, man, it feels nice. It feels nice on the whole. And they just lost their top offensive lineman, the highest paid offensive lineman in the year, the week before this game. And that was a nut punch to end all nut punches, but I have a good feeling, man. This could be my year, man. Packers could win the Super Bowl this year. I really think it could happen.
It might do it. It might do it. But how about them Ravens?
Ravens look pretty good too.
I know, everybody said that. I know, in Kansas City.
Oh man, and yeah, Kansas. I think it'll be Green Bay and Kansas City. That's actually my pick. Rodgers cannot actually lose to Green Bay or lose to Brady in the NFC Championship because if they play, it'll be in the divisional round after the thing. But shut up.
Yeah.
Hey guys, how's the sound? Are we on even keels? I always like to ask you guys to tell us, because just so you know, if you ever don't have time to listen to the show or watch the show, if you're traveling the next day or whatever, the next day I always put these videos up as a podcast. Want to make sure the audio sounds at least decent enough for you guys. So let me know if it doesn't. Hopefully we sound even. We're still working out these new mics and working out our sexualities on a constant basis.
We've been doing that since middle school.
Yeah, you must. Hey, we got any new biscuit boys? We got any new biscuit boys and girls in the audience? That means this is your first time. I doubt it because YouTube's not really putting us out there to people. But if this is your first time watching the show, please make yourself known as a little biscuit boy or little biscuit girl in the chat below, and we will notify everyone that you're new here, so be gentle on their butts. Operation Spider, thank you very much for the super chat. Says, we talk a Cobra Kai. I need that cast as Power Rangers for the reboot. Robbie is green, Sam is pink, Miguel is red, Dimitri is blue. Let's go. Dimitri would be a fucking great Blue Ranger, dude.
Yeah, did he mention Hawk?
I don't see Hawk in there. Robbie is green, Sam is pink, Miguel's red. No, there's no Hawk in there. Hawk would be...
Robbie's got that attitude. I could go with that, but yeah, Hawk, I don't know. Hawk would be like one of those alien rangers. I don't know. No, he'd be all right. I don't know. Maybe Blue, Billy. I don't know.
Yeah, Hawk, I think he'd be Goldar. He'd be Rita. We are going to talk about Cobra Kai in the final hour. So this is how the show's going to go, guys, tonight. The first hour, we're going to shoot the shit a little bit. We're going to talk some Batman news that just came out. Second hour, we are talking about Halloween 4, a script that has never seen the light of day until this guy right here, this amazing book by Dustin McNeil and Travis Mullins that you got to get your hands on. Taking Shape 2, amazing book. We've been covering a little bit as we go along, but another unmade Halloween script sequel that we're going to talk about tonight. And
basically, if Iggy Pop were coherent, he might have wrote that script.
I think, honest to God, dude, it's my favorite not made Halloween script yet. But we'll get to that when we talk about it. We're talking about that in the second hour, and then finally in the third hour, we're going full Cobra Kai season 3 spoiler territory, which is hard for us because we watched it like 3 weeks ago, but caught up to it a little bit to make sure we're on the.
Well, before we get into the main fat of the news stories, I was really quick because this thing right here is not like, I don't want to really go off and like, that's why I didn't tell you about it before, because I don't really want to go off on about like, because it comes from We Got This Covered technically, but then again it was shared around by some other people. I know that's what it feels like when you get a cool one right in your butt. You're like, that's a pickle. But no, so apparently this is, and again, I think the rumor is based on some truth, but the reality of like what they're trying to pass it off as is bullshit. But if it is, it's crazy good. Supposedly in Hollywood right now, Jon Favreau is in talks with Robert Downey Jr. to take on the role of Grand Admiral Thrawn in The Mandalorian as a long-term commitment role. And I was like, that sounds almost like it could be true, because Jon Favreau and Robert Downey Jr. have a really good relationship with one another. If it wasn't for Jon Favreau, Robert Downey would have never had his career back. Yeah. He fought and begged for him to be an Iron Man, and that he's under the under the Disney flag, under the Disney umbrella. Robert Downey coming back to do something like Grand Admiral Thrawn as the main baddie of the Mandalorian like team up at the end, I could see that. And I'm gonna tell you what, Grand Admiral Thrawn is an awesome ass character, and I think Robert Downey could really pull it off. He's like a bad guy. He's cunning. He's intelligent. He's got all these factors in him, and I think Robert Downey as a bad guy would be really good in that role. But he's very well put. It's basically like Tony Stark going bad is what Grand Admiral Thrawn would be.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Robert Downey Jr. in anything's great, but that sounds like the exact type of schlop. We heard you boys like them extra sloppy that We Got This Covered does, because it makes sense, right? That's what they do. They think of shit that would make sense. They say it's true, and if it turns out being right, throwing shit at the wall, then they say, "Hey, look, we're the ones that told you that, so believe these next 12 stories that we fucking made up out of our asshole."
I was gonna say that I said that I think it's true that they probably are in talks. Whether or not it's about the Mandalorian is anybody's guess. But a couple of other news sites picked it up and ran with it. It was put out a day ago by We Got This Covered, and then I think Pirates and Princesses ran a story on it today, and then another one. And I don't know if they have another source that's actually confirming that this is actually somewhat true. The thing about it, though, is that Jon Favreau, while it will make sense that Robert Downey Jr. would listen to Jon Favreau, it just seems like Robert Downey Jr. would be willing or ready to move on. Like if he would have signed a long-term contract to do something else that was going to be multiple things, I think he'd be like, I don't know, I've already done the MCU, so I don't know if I want to get involved in something like that again.
Yeah, that's kind of what happens too with these stories. People pick it up, and then people are like, no, dude, the story's everywhere. And then like you go back and you click on the other stories, and they all source back to We Got This Covered. So you know what I mean? Like again, it makes fucking sense, right? It makes total sense that Jon Favreau would call on Robert Downey Jr. That makes all the sense in the fucking world. But and
again, it's a great character too. I mean, it really is an amazing character. And if they were, and you know, the way that the article, I didn't read the We Got This Cover article. This was on the Pirates and Princesses article, and then Geeks and Gamers, a YouTube channel. I watched them do a little quick recap on it. But you know, the main thing, the main takeaway from it was that they think that because a paradigm shift is occurring in the world of movies, in the cinema, not really being an alternative for a lot of actors, that Jon Favreau is taking the first step and recruiting a lot of big name actors to start on these streaming platforms, which is therefore looking like the future. And they can get paid a good amount of money and then be exposed in a lot more ways than they can in theaters anymore. So that's possibly why he's doing this, and that Robert Downey would be interested in doing something like that, whereas if he puts out a movie now, there's no guarantee that he'll be able to be exposed like he once was.
Hey, if there's one thing you can count on, it's Robert Downey Jr. exposing himself.
And a great guy at a cocaine party. That's for damn sure. But like, I just think like, I don't know. I mean, if it, like them in talks makes sense, whether or not it'd be Grand Admiral Thrawn is probably bullshit. But I just think it's interesting to talk about whether or not like the possibilities. That would be cool as shit, though.
That would be cool. And I don't even know about a Star Wars. Robert Downey Jr. or anything is a fucking win for me, man. Let me grab some of these super chats here. Jason Dyer, thanks, buddy. Says, love your faces. Who wins Michael Myers versus Aaron Rodgers? Packers looking good. Go Packers. Go Asian T. You know, it depends on how they're fighting. You know what I mean? Like, Aaron Rodgers, man, he's got some fucking aim. He's got some fucking aim. But yeah, Michael Myers would kill the shit out of him if they're boxed into a suburban house together. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, man, Packers looking fucking great.
I think, I don't know. Yeah, Michael Myers, I think Michael Myers whooped that ass. Aaron Rodgers would be like, well, you know what? I can take him on. I'm the greatest in all time. You know how far I can throw a football? Michael Myers can't do that. And then he would throw a knife in his face.
Yeah,
like, maybe, you know how far I can throw a knife?
Maybe put Aaron Rodgers against a wall with like 100 footballs to throw, and he could thwart Michael for a little while. But Aaron Rodgers doesn't seem like a very good fighter. You know what I mean?
I think Michael Myers would walk out with like fucking a pair of Wranglers on, and then be sponsored by Brett Favre, and then Aaron Rodgers would be freaked out. He's like, oh my god, my old mentor.
Brett Favre shows up as the Man in Black. I saw a little biscuit girl in there, and I lost it. God damn it! What the fuck? Whoever said that? Welcome, little biscuit girl. Thank you for giving us a chance. I know that we'll disappoint you, like we do in bed with our sexual natures.
It just wouldn't be the same.
We still love you. Intel Wild, thanks, buddy. Says, Mike, your Packers are looking good, but my Los Angeles Lakers are looking like back-to-back champions. I can't do it, LeBron James. It makes me sick. But congratulations to you.
Give me that LeBron. Give me those Lakers. Give me those championships that everybody said LeBron would never win any more than he's got. He's gonna keep winning. He's gonna keep winning.
Of course he is, because he's gonna fucking hire the best talent money can buy. I could fucking win with Anthony Davis.
It don't matter. Don't be jelly. Haterade.
He's no Jordan. He's no Sharon
By the
Stone.
way, did you hear about James Harden?
That he's fat now.
I heard that, but I was also said that somebody said they photoshopped that. But anyway, they also said that there's an interest in him going to the Warriors.
That would be weird. I'm not the biggest James Harden fan, man. I don't know what it is about him. I just don't love it. I like the guys who are really like fucking grit, you know. The Jordan types and the Kobe types of the crazy mindsets. I like Steph Curry went off last night, by the way. He went off fucking hard.
62 points. I heard about that.
Yeah, that was crazy. I'm interested in what the Rockets do this year, though, because they got DeMarcus Cousins, they got John Wall, and they have Harden as of now if he doesn't get traded. But John Wall and Cousins on the same team. We're Kentucky fans. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Marco Villator, thanks, buddy. He says, Mike and Jay, you think what's happening on the Batman set might cost them to recast a new Batman in the future if Patterson doesn't want to do it, or keep Patterson Patterson and just change the director. I honestly, dude, we've had time to sit on this and talk about it and see a little bit more. He's referencing the Sun article that we talked about last week that said Pattinson was done with control freak Matt Reeves. But the more and more I see, the more and more I think about it, the more and more I think the story's bullshit. I don't actually think that they're even feuding, man. I really don't. I don't think that story's true. But if it is, Pattinson doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would want to make 7 movies under the same franchise umbrella. You know what I mean? Like, he sounds like a one-off kind of guy anyway, so I wouldn't be surprised if Batman is recast in the future.
No, I think Robert Pattinson's going to stick around. I think it's a dream role. I think someone even mentioned that before, that he was honored to play Batman. It was his favorite character. And as a matter of fact, I do want to address the fact that we didn't know the Sun was basically a goddamn tissue paper for Britain that they wiped their ass with. I read some of the comments like, oh, clickbaity motherfuckers. I didn't know. Like, we had no idea the Sun was like that. I didn't know. But and then somebody was like saying, oh, why don't you guys stop like harassing Robert Pattinson and with the glittery jokes? It's like, bitch, we've literally fucking defended him since day one.
Yeah,
since day one. We've joke.
Yeah, dude, when everybody was shitting on Pattinson as Batman, we were like, no, man, he could be a good fucking Batman. We've had Rob Pattinson's side. We literally started the video with, this is probably bullshit. But let's talk about it anyway.
But so, Robert Pattinson being the long-term Batman, as far as what they're doing there and with Matt Reeves, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of rumors going around about what's going on that set, but it could all just be a big fart in the wind bullshit. Yeah. And I think that Robert Pattinson and Matt Reeves probably are doing fine together. And Robert Pattinson probably, we don't know the details of the contract that he signed. He very well could have signed a 3-picture, 4-picture deal with Matt Reeves and Warner Brothers. That's not, we don't know that. And I think that may have been the case. He could have very well done that. And look, Warner Brothers wants a young Batman. They've always wanted, they hoped that Ben Affleck would be the guy that they could build the universe on top of. Yeah. Unfortunately, Jim Beam got the better of him. But that happens, and they had Robert Pattinson come in, and Robert Pattinson is stellar enough. He's got a good, loyal fan base. He's got great acting ability, and he's a good-looking guy, and he can carry that more dark, twisted version they're going with. I think he'll stick around. I think he'll be around for a couple of movies.
It's hard to say. If put a gun in my head, I don't think he'll do more than 2 or 3. But also put a gun in my head, I don't think that story's real at all. Like once I thought about it and said it, I thought about it, but it might be. There's still a chance. Who knows? Joshua Ayers, thank you, buddy. And by the way, we got a huge fucking Batman story we're about to talk about in a few minutes. Joshua Ayers, thank you, man. Says, I like his icon, man. It's that scary goat shit. He says, hey, guys, give a shout out to Emily Frond for me. Much love, boys.
Hello, Emily.
Emily Frond. Shout out to you. To you, man. To fucking you.
That's how Mike is when he gets high. To you, bro. I love you, bro.
Now pass me the Pop-Tarts, bro.
Let me smoke this.
Strawberry, dude. I'll eat the blueberry. It's okay. Ayer said Emily Fong. My bad, Emily. Oh, Emily Fong. Shout out to Emily Fong. I hope you're doing awesome. And if you're not, I hope you are tomorrow.
Welcome to the shit show, Emily. Hope you're buckled up for some more shit.
Hey, we just broke the 200 viewer mark. Congratulations. That's pretty quick. Doing good. Feeling right, guys. If you don't care, do us a favor. If you are new here, please click subscribe because it helps us. Click like on the video because that apparently helps us because YouTube's hiding our shit because we're doing a lot of live shit because COVID and stuff like that. So, it really helps us when you like the video. Really double, triple fucking hand job in the bathroom likes it when you guys share it, the video anywhere. We really, really appreciate that. If you guys want to click share and tell people to come watch this shit, that's a huge bump for us, and we really appreciate it. Gino G with the super chat. Thanks, buddy. He says, Mike, you believe those Eagles. What a filthy, disgusting move by Peterson. Dude, you missed it. We talked about it at the open of the show, man. Oh,
it was disgusting. I felt like they were like, in Rounders when John Malkovich gets Matt Damon to play, but he's really like an asshole about it. And he was like, goes, you're like, young man, you come in here, you give it no satisfaction. I splash the pot whenever the fuck I feel like it. Like, I feel like that was the coach of fucking the Eagles last night.
Dude,
I cannot believe it.
Listen, man, I've been telling Eagles fans, they've been like, fire Doug Peterson, this shit sucks. And I've been like, man, Doug Peterson's a cool guy. Number one, he just won you a Super Bowl a couple years ago. Number two, he was Favre's backup for a few years, and I've always had a soft spot for Doug Peterson. But that shit he pulled last night, I would not be surprised if it came down from above, dude, because like a couple days before that game, they came out and said, hey, Doug Peterson's job is safe. Right? And Doug Peterson was like, I expect my job to be safe. And then this stuff happens. And the whole team, man, on the sidelines, when they were panning to those players, they looked fucking pissed. They were shaking their heads. They had their heads down. They were really pissed about what he had done. I would not be surprised one bit if management was like, hey, look, we're keeping you around for another year, but you're losing this fucking game this weekend, and you're getting us that high draft pick. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised at all. So it may not be Doug Peterson's full-on fault, but that is a shitty thing to do to the New York Giants, man. Fuck.
And I don't even know if it was about New York. I just think it's a shitty thing to do to any NFL fucking fan. I mean, the fact is the Eagles didn't have that was over for them. But if you're not going to show up and play the fucking game, then what's the point? I mean, just go home, wipe your ass with some toilet paper, and like cheat on your wife. I don't know what the fuck they were like. Why did you even show up? Why didn't you just go over to Washington and be like, all right, you guys win. I don't care. Just go ahead. You guys can take it down. Just take it down.
Embarrassment, man. And it happened on Sunday Night Football of all things, the biggest game of the year. That spot is supposed to be slated for like a huge playoff implication game, and they just shit the bed. Hey, I see Grubby in the chat. Grubby, you're the fucking man. Really appreciate you, dude. Just want to let you know that. Craig Phillips, thank you, brother. Really appreciate that, man. He says, here's some money for Dr. Loomis to get some Asian tea and Michael some goldfish, and My Little Ponies, Mike, Red Ranger, and My Little Ponies. Mike, Red Ranger sucks. Go Green Ranger. Now, you super chatted some nice.
I like that. That's the epic super chat right there. I like that.
I love you, Craig. It's fucking Craig. I love you. But the Green Ranger can suck my white ass. Red Ranger all day, no matter what you say.
He'll put a dick in that white ass and tell you the Red Ranger sucks, and I took your team. I took the Rangers. I took it. The Dragon Sword wins. He has his own sword, okay? Red Ranger had to get it from fucking a floaty head. He had to get his own sword from a floaty head.
Green Ranger is he's a fucking raven, just swooping in and taking Kimberly Awed for the Red Ranger and taking the fans' love of all the shit the Red Ranger gave them. And Jason David Frank turned out to be kind of a douchebag. All right? It's true, but I do love that green color, dude. That green color is fucking sexy. I like it a lot. Sheriff O'Dog, thanks, buddy, says, and some Skittles. It's like, now give me some Bubblicious. It's some Skittles. Bad Boys, man. That's such a great fucking line. All right, and finally, last super chat we'll get to right before we do the news, the Batman news. Jeff Harris, thanks, buddy. He says, for the channel, P.S. Mike, your post on New Year's Day on Instagram of the mannequin had me worried for a sec. Shit was funny as fuck.
Oh, dude, that was crazy as shit.
Jay and I got together for the first time on New Year's Eve. Also happened to be my wife's birthday. So we had, we had a social distance, under 8 people party. We had 6 people there. We were careful and all that shit, but we had a little get together and we just had a fucking blast. Okay. And, one of our friends, was trying to play a prank where he took all the clothes off of Michael Myers and like stood there in the mannequin's place. But I think he had a few too many because he didn't realize that if he did that, the mannequin was just going to be standing there too. So it wasn't going to work. But he was trying to scare everybody while we were out in the garage. And so Michael was naked. And that mannequin has a nice fucking butt, dude.
It was very tight.
I don't know if that's why you picked it, but it's got a nice butt. And so, yeah, we took a picture of him making out with the mannequin and squeezing his butt. And I had to put on the Instagram caption at We Watched a Movie. I had to put on there, by the way, this is a mannequin, because it looks so real, dude. And he was squeezing his butt with such sensuality that it really looked like, and everybody thought it was me making out with a dude with fucking assless chaps on. That was fun, though. That was a good time.
It was a great night.
I had a great time. I'm having a great time. When
you get a fucking pantless Michael Myers, whether it be mannequin or real, that's a great night. That's what you ride home to mom about on New Year's.
Damn straight, man. Yeah, the Pink Ranger can get it, Jakey. Take Customs. You're fucking right about that, my friend. All right, guys. The news stories that we're going to talk about today. This shit's wild. Came out fucking... Normally, not a lot of stuff comes out on Monday, but this is pretty damn cool. Let me go to the internet. Let me hash brown it real quick. Go to the... Oh, that's not what I wanted to show you. Those were
That's
notes.
A wiener.
Those were notes. Here we go. Yeah. So apparently there could be 2 different Batmans in the same universe at the same time. Now, originally when you hear this, you think Ben Affleck. You think a new Batman along with Robert Pattinson. No, says I. Fucking Michael Keaton is apparently going to play a way bigger role in the DC universe than we thought. It's fucking crazy, man.
That's what I'm talking. I mean, see, I love it. I think it's awesome, but it's also one of those things where I almost don't believe it because it's like Michael Keaton has expressed interest. I mean, obviously this is a big project for him and he wanted to do it, but the only time I remember him even wanting or touching on doing a long-term commitment to the Batman role again was when they were talking about whether or not, he came back, he would do Tim Burton's original trilogy and then leave the role. And then that Beetlejuice was the other one that he would come back to instantly. It wouldn't matter. So yeah. It's like the fact that it's a great idea, but it's like, it almost makes me wonder if it's like a legit thing though. Cause I know that the article I'd read that it didn't come from the president or anything like that. It just came from the guy that was doing the article.
Well, and here's what it actually says here, just to give you a little bit of backstory. It said there was this big article with DC Films president Walter Hamada, and he said during the interview, he said Warner Brothers will have 2 different film sagas involving Batman played by 2 different actors running at the same time. And then one of them's obviously Robert Pattinson, but somebody tweeted to the guy who interviewed him and said, hey, who's the other guy other than Pattinson? And you see here, the article guy said Keaton. So and then you read on and it says something really interesting. It says that, let's see, when they're talking about, so it's the Flash where Ben Affleck's going to appear, right? Yeah. Ben Affleck's going to be in the Flash movie as well as Michael Keaton for the first part. But, and who said this? They said Affleck's a very substantial part of the emotional impact of the movie, said Andy Muschietti, the director. He said the interaction and relationship between Barry and Affleck's Wayne will bring an emotional level that we haven't seen before. It's Barry's movie, it's Barry's story, but the characters are more related than we think. They both lost their mothers to murder, and that's one of the emotional vessels of the movie. That's where Affleck Batman kicks in. He's the baseline. He's part of that unaltered state before we jump into Barry's adventure. There's a familiarity there. And then I read that Keaton could possibly be playing... that's what it says here in the article. It says at the same time, sources said that Keaton might take on a similar role to Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, serving as something of a mentor, guide, string puller in the handful of DCU movies. And this comes from JoeBlow.com, by the way. But
I mean, like I said, it's an amazing. If it happens, it's awesome. I don't know, but it just seems like the guy that wrote the article that was interviewing, what was Hamada, the president? It was like, oh, do you know if it's Keaton? He's like, yeah, it's Keaton. Like, I mean, you don't really know. You're just a reporter there. Are you just guessing? I don't know.
He seems pretty sure.
It's like if you were, but I mean, we got this cover seems sure on a lot of shit too. It's just like if you asked him and you're like, hey man, what do you think? Do you think that Michael Keaton should come back? He's like, yeah, it's Keaton.
But that's the difference. That this article came from fucking the New York Times or whatever it was, like a legit fucking thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like that's why.
The guy. Yeah.
Right. But he works them. So It would make sense. Like, it would make sense, right? Like, Keaton's not going to have his own full-fledged, action-packed Batman movie. I'm pretty sure that sounds pretty impossible, right? Like, Keaton putting on the suit and going out and fighting. Unless you use a weird stunt coordinator sort of thing. But him being a Nick Fury type of character and serving the future of the DC movies, coming back every once in a while to, like... give and this maybe ties into what we're talking about with Pattinson. What if Pattinson leaves, they restart Batman over again, and then they find a way to have Michael Keaton be his mentor? What if you got a Nightwing situation or something like that?
That would be more of a Batman Beyond. I mean, because Batman Beyond, like Bruce Wayne comes back, but I don't know if they're going to run 2 different Batmans concurrently. I think they're going to keep the Robert Pattinson Batman separate forever. Like, it's just going to be its own thing, like DC Black. Like I haven't heard that in a while, because they were going to do like this whole DC Black like separate thing where it's going to be darker stories like the Joker's, all those separate stories, and I haven't heard anything from that. Michael Keaton coming back to do an extended Nick Fury type of thing, and then if they want to do the restarting the Justice League that way, I guess it almost seems like if they do it that way though, I hope they don't go the route of MCU. I really don't want to see a copy and paste.
No.
Hey, let's have this old guy that's seen some battles come to, bring these teammates together. I don't want to see some shit like that, even though it's worked for Marvel. I'd rather, but if he were just like an old guy and then you got like, but it's a Batman Beyond situation. If they're going to introduce Batman Beyond into the DCEU, then that would be one way to do it.
Hey, what if that's what it is though? That's what I'm saying. Like, that makes perfect sense with what they're saying. If what they're saying, it's going to be this Nick Fury type character, right? Like who plays like as a mentor role. But what if that's what they literally fucking do, dude? What if they somehow create a Batman Beyond out of this, and then Keaton is the mentor to the new Batman?
If that's the route they're going to go, then I'd be behind it. But the only thing about Batman Beyond, I think Batman Beyond, unless they fuck around with the time, I mean, it doesn't really matter. But Batman Beyond is like in the future. It's like 2099 or whatever the fuck it is. It's way in the future. So I don't
play with it though.
I don't know, because there's some hardcore fans. I don't know how they would do it, but that's how I would see them doing it. Because at this point, because where Robert Pattinson is going to be this separate Batman that has nothing to do with the DCEU at all, like at all, nothing. Then you're going to have, and I'm guessing it's like when the Flash goes back in time and creates an alternate reality, and then he sets things right in Flashpoint, then Michael Keaton's Batman would stay around, but he's a lot older and he's a lot different. Maybe he's a lot more edgier than even Ben Affleck's for some reason. I don't know. Maybe some other tragedy has happened to him. I don't know. But then he's eventually going to die, and people are going to get pissed. They're going to be like, well, we want a new fucking Bruce Wayne. Like, I want a new Bruce Wayne that's going to be around, that has longevity. I want Batman, for the DCEU.
Yeah.
Rather than like Dick Grayson, or not Dick Grayson. I can't remember the kid that played Batman Beyond, but like, that was the problem with you can say what you want about Nolan's trilogy, but the last with The Dark Knight Rises, when people found out that it was going to be Dick Grayson as the new Batman, that's a hard pillow. Yeah, you don't want to swallow those pillows.
I can't swallow this pillow
pants, but it's a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow, where it's not going to be Bruce Wayne as Batman. They're just not ready to have like another guy take over.
I have two fears, or I have a fear here. I have an excitement mixed with a fear. So like, if DC has all this really cool shit on tap, and they're like, we're about to blow people's fucking minds at whatever the next DC fandom is, or whatever it was, because The Flash doesn't come out until 2022, right? So they got time to sort all this shit out. What scares me, dude, is what if DC really still has no idea what the fuck they're doing? Like, what if they really don't know at all, and they're just throwing shit at the wall, and they're trying to piece stuff together, and they're really not putting it together? I'm with you, dude. I don't want a Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I don't think they're going towards this Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that actually ties into our next story, which is that Zack Snyder came out and said, look, likelihood is I am not making any more DC films. I'm busy. You know what I mean? And I'll pull that up here just as we're talking about this. But I don't think DC has any interest in continuing from the Justice League storyline. But DC is pretty liquid in the way they do shit. They also said there'd never be a Snyder Cut. So if this Snyder Cut comes out and it fucking kills, I mean, if it crushes and people fucking love it and they demand more of it, DC, they will, I guarantee you, they will turn around and go, nope, okay, we're continuing with that. You know what I mean?
I think their best bet right now, and yeah, I think that as far as the DCEU is concerned, I think that Warner Brothers is still lost on what to do with that particular property. I mean, we liked Wonder Woman 84. It is what it is. People didn't like it, but they're really, I think they're putting a lot of bet on this Flash movie to be really, really good, so they can reset the universe and then go forward from there. Obviously, they're buying back a lot of faith in fans with the Joker doing amazing with what it did, but again, that's a separate Joker. That's not a part of the reality they're building with DCEU. They're just sitting in the office. A lot of them are just drinking scotch, and they're like, "What the fuck do we do? Bring back Michael Keaton. Fuck it. Bring back Michael. Get me the Batman now. Where do you get those one? And by the way, get Jack Nicholson on the phone. I want to hear his voice. Like they do. Like they're like doing anything that'll stick at the wall. But I don't know, man. Like if they go the MCU route, I think they're gonna lose a lot of.
Don't do it.
Like if they go that route, they're gonna be like, nah, man, I don't know about all this because I've seen this shit before. I know where this goes.
I don't want that shit. I don't want them to try to do the Marvel thing. I think the smartest thing, if I was running DC, I would be like, as cool as that fucking sounds, dude. And actually, I would do it. I'd be like, okay, do the Flashpoint thing. Let's make that a tiny universe, not like an overwhelming universe. Let's make that a tiny, contained universe. But on the outside of that, we're gonna do fucking just random story. We're gonna do Batman versus the Night of Owls. And that'll be a brand new Batman, brand new fucking thing, one standalone movie. At the most, maybe we do a trilogy. They fucking had it with Christopher Nolan, dude. Christopher Nolan fucking had it. Make a 3-movie Batman story and have it be apart from any kind of universe or anything else. Yeah, you can recast. There could be 2-3 Batmans going on at once. Why not?
And I think I think that's the original idea. I mean, they already have Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. They're already doing stuff outside Matt Reeves' Batman's already doing all that. And then you're looking at the fact that the DC Black or whatever the label they were going to go with. I think they're interested in doing that because they understand how much money Joker made by itself.
Yeah.
$1 billion fucking dollars. It was a rated R superhero movie and it did amazing, right? It was $1 billion. I think it was. But it was a big hit, and it was a rated R, no holds barred take on Joker. Matt Reeves' Batman, it looks like a 7 movie. It looks like the movie 7.
Yeah.
Like very dark, very scary type of movie that's going to be more centered on the detective side of him. Mm-hmm. And so they know that's going to do really well. So yeah, the outside movies are going to continue because here's the fucking straight truth. DC, there is no one that makes better animated movies than DC. DC is always on top of their games with their animated movie and their comic books as far as the dark, gritty side. That's what they should be focused on. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have an extended universe because I like that stuff too. But if I were them, Michael Keaton coming back is a great story and I like that. I want to see it. But at the same time, maybe I'd be probably looking at other projects too. I'd be looking at a lot more single solo movies that they could do on rather than the extended universe. I don't know.
Me too. I'm 100% with you, man. There's so many different people that could play Batman. There's so many people that could do a good Joker. These characters aren't they aren't, in my mind, they're not meant to do the Marvel thing because if DC wants to, they can really just separate this Marvel conversation because there's one thing Marvel can't do. And Marvel's Achilles heel is that they're owned by Disney. All right, so they're gonna have a really hard time doing the darker versions of stuff. They can skirt a little bit. They can put Deadpool 3 out and put it under a different branch or whatever. They could do that, but they don't like to. DC has a chance to be like, we're going to make original films. We're going to let the directors be in charge of what they do. We're going to do sometimes artsy fartsy stuff, but then we'll have this little area over here where maybe we do have a little bit of a universe going on. But what they can do that Marvel can't do is they can push the needle. They can change things. Yeah. They could make R-rated movies. They could do all that stuff. And that if they really want to separate themselves, that's what they'll do.
Yeah, it's really sad though, because Warner Brothers really are in a prime position to really do some amazing stuff with their characters, but it is such a bushel of fuckadocious over there where people don't know who to turn to. There's no prime leader. There's no vision for a direction. It's just like, there's all these comic books that I don't know what to do. I got so many toys that I can play with.
But I don't want there to be a Kevin Feige, though. I don't Kevin Feige. I don't want DC to have a Kevin Feige. I want DC to be a fucking movie studio and say, hey, you want to make fucking Batman? Fucking you make a Batman movie. Hey, man, you want to make a Superman movie? You're a great director. Make a fucking Superman movie. I don't need them to tie together. I don't need Easter eggs. I don't need sequels if not need be. If you have a great story that could really be fleshed out, make it a trilogy. Fine. Fucking, they did it, man. They fucking did it with Nolan. They made 3 movies that are the beacon of comic book movies, at least a certain portion of it. It has its own cloud in the sky. Why not just do that? You know?
I mean, not even like, I don't necessarily want a Kevin Feige. I'm just talking about someone with that cares about the characters and that knows what they're doing as far as running the fucking company, as far as their superheroes are concerned. Because MCU is not for everybody for sure. But Kevin Feige, it's not just the fact that they've done a great job world building, and that's why Avengers Endgame is one of the best superhero movies of all time. Period. But the thing about him is that he gives a shit about his characters, and he has a singular focus. He's like, all right, each one of these characters are going to be like, you're going to make sure that you treat them right. Like, I'm not going to just give them to you and you're going to do whatever with them. Like, let's cast Val Kilmer as Batman and give me Tommy Lee Jones as a shitty Two-Face. Oh, that already happened. Oh shit, never mind. But no, you know what I mean? Like I just want somebody there that has at least somewhat of an idea on what to do with these characters, and then put them in the hands of great directors and storytellers.
I'm with you. I want somebody that's not going to react. I want somebody that's not going to go, oh, we made one movie and we pushed the needle a little bit, but Rotten Tomatoes didn't fucking like it, so now let's start from square one and let's just copy what Marvel's doing. Like, you said it best when you said Avengers Endgame, man. Marvel did this. They did the cinematic universe and they completed it in an awesome way. A way that it's just the fucking top of the shelf. You're not going to do better than that with a cinematic universe. You're not going to land a cinematic universe the way Marvel did. Marvel busted their own fucking nut with that thing, man. They're never going to replicate that.
It felt so good.
Nobody's going to replicate, man. I mean, that was the ultimate fucking power stone of cinematic universe starting and ending. But it's done. It's done. It happened. Stop trying to fucking replicate it and do something different. Do your own fucking thing. Get your own penis showing game, you know?
Get off my Kool-Aid, motherfucker.
Yeah. Hire us, DC. We'll fucking do it.
I would love to do it.
We'll get Black Manta in there.
I think his name is actually Black Manta. I think it's Black Mantis.
Oh, Black Mantis. Yeah, that's what it was.
Black Mantis is the alternate reality character that I was working on. You know, when Flash goes, oh god, dude, that was the worst ever. Oh shit, I'm not even gonna get into that. But I said the character's name wrong, Black Mantis, and I said it several times in the video. And the amount of just butthurt hate that came in the comments. I felt a great disturbance in the force, as if millions of voices cried out and said, "Jay must die," because it was awful.
Yeah, just a bunch of people in their basements going, "You don't even know Black Manta."
Yeah, where they had their peanut butter sticky hands while they're touching their penis through their box. She's like, "He don't know nothing about
this fucking guy. I could do this.
Yeah, it was bad, but yeah. Passionate fans, but holy shit.
Yeah, man. So here's the other news story that we're talking about in the same vein of that, which is pretty wacky, pretty fucking wackadoo. Let me close this one here. And but by the way, let me just say this: more Michael Keaton as Batman. Dude, it's pretty fucking cool, man. Could you have imagined 20 years ago being like, we're gonna get to see Michael Keaton as the Batman he was in Batman Returns show up again for not just one but multiple movies? That's so cool, dude.
Yeah, the closest we ever got to that was the Birdman.
Yeah,
which was a great ass. That was the closest we ever got. It was still a great movie, but yeah, dude. I want what my main concern is right now is do you like your haircut? No. Dude, my main concern is like, is he gonna be in the fucking suit? Like, I want it like at least once, like, you know, him showing up in the suit and him realizing I'm too old for this shit kind of moment.
Yeah.
Where he's like, I can't do it. I just can't keep up anymore. I just want to see him in the suit one more fucking time.
Or what if he needs to, like, at first he's a mental mentor, but then like whoever he's mentoring gets in trouble and is like trapped, and he has to like put on the suit one more time, dude. Oh fuck, dude, imagine, dude.
You know what?
If you saw Michael Keaton go back and hit the button and like put on the suit, like the orange or the yellow rubber suit, dude, I'd shit my pants all over myself.
I just thought about a way they could do that. I'm sure they're not going to do it because it would be way too much like your story. And I guess they could condense it down. But if the Flash goes back in time and all this shit happens, what if the only way that Michael Keaton could get back in the suit is if John Paul Baptiste, I can't remember the guy that took over for Batman when Bane broke his back, the blonde-haired guy for the Nightfall series, and then Batman had to whip his ass and take back the mantle.
Oh, maybe my God.
Like, I was thinking, like, what if John Paul was shows up in this and Michael Keaton has to put the suit back on because this new Batman is misrepresenting him. Yeah, he's like, I have to do this.
Oh my God, dude! And I just thought of it, man. I literally just thought of it. I swear to God, you know exactly what I would do if we were in control of this shit. I was watching on HBO Max. They have The Death in the Family. It made me think of it when you mentioned Bane. The Death in the Family animated film. It's only like 30 minutes long the way they do it, but basically the way that they do it. And this is a really cool thing, man. Imagine if DC Movies did this. Okay, so at the start of this animated series, the camera, you get the DC logo pops up, right? And then the camera goes into a comic book store. And it's like whipping around a comic book store. And you see all these people in the comic book store. You see all the comic books. And the camera lands on the actual Death in the Family comic book, right? Yeah. It's sitting on a shelf. The camera zooms into the Death of the Family comic book where Batman's holding Robin's lifeless body. And then the story starts. Dude, imagine if DC did that. If they did one-shot films and the beginning of the movie, it starts out, it goes into the comic book, and it focuses on what if the comic book is Bane breaking Batman's back, and then you've got that whole story, which technically they did it in Dark Knight Returns. But I'm just saying, like, you take the classic stories and you literally make them very, very, very respectful and honorable of the comic book. You almost tell the exact story, but you can switch up some stuff here so it's not too boring or you don't know what's going to come next. If they just did a bunch of one-shots and it was literally based on the best comic books of DC's franchise, and you could start with Batman being Batman, you don't have to do the fucking origin story, you don't have to do all that shit. You could have a brand new Batman, you could have you could do Mr. Freeze, whatever the fuck, the best ones, and you could do one shot. Dude, that'd be so fucking cool, man.
Yeah, I heard most of what you're saying. My fucking internet took a shit though.
Oh, sorry.
That's all good. I heard most of it. But yeah, it sounded cool. Like, yeah, it's like you're just talking about like when it zooms into the comic book story, and that'd be like the opening of the story.
Yeah, like they
flip up into the page, and then you would go into the page, and that would start the story.
Yeah, they show the comic book cover, and then it's one movie. You can cast a whole new Batman every time. You can cast a whole new villain set every time. You can recast Alfred, everybody, each time you do it if you want to. And you could just do one. Maybe you could do a trilogy of it if you really want to. But you just tell that specific story. You don't have to tie it into the universe. You don't have all these strings to pull. You don't have to worry about It's so cool.
Kind of sounds like the R.L. Stein when a briefcase opens up and all the papers fly out. It would be the individual stories. But yeah, I like it. And again, we've already mentioned it before. DC has got so many different places to go, and the independent movies are the route to go, I think, as far as independent stories of their characters rather than an extended universe. While I still am in support of an extended universe, I'm just saying, man, they have so many great, rich characters that you can explore with like their own movies that it was almost a shame to deny fans that. Yeah, like, it really is. By the way, I noticed a bunch of you guys were saying Azrael. Yes, Azrael. John Paul's name is Azrael.
I remember that storyline too. Yeah. Some dope ass comic book artwork in those.
Yeah.
And people are saying like Creep Show, yes. Like DC Anthology, yes. But I'm talking movies instead of a show. I'm talking full on movies that really tell the best stories. That way you don't have to do 17 fucking goddamn movies to lead up. Oh, extra credit scene. Maybe you'll see this fucking 7th rate character in the next film. Only the geeks will fucking know. And then, like, you know what I mean? Like, you could really just tell the best story you can tell, and you could jump right in. You don't have to have an actor sign on for 18 fucking movies and then be dicked when he's gone, you know? I think they look at the money and the merchandise they can sell on I mean, they look at MCU and they're like, I mean, the MCU is the gold standard. They really are. They're the blueprint to make money. Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I think they're too afraid, dude. Warner Brothers is so fucking afraid to do that. I mean, they did a great job with the Joker, but it almost feels like they're just like, well, that shit worked over there. Let's go ahead and keep doing it. Let's do it over here.
Yeah, nobody wants to fucking like they don't want to pioneer shit. They want to do the same thing that that Marvel did, and it's disappointing, dude. They have such an opportunity, and they're not wasting it because they are doing standalone films. They are switching it up a little bit. They're not trying to be Marvel anymore, but yeah, it'd be cool, man. But anyway, yeah, the other story that we were going to talk about was, speaking of the fucking problem, man, with oh, there it goes. Sorry. The problem with these universe creating shit that these studios are running into. It's right here, man. They've got it right here in front of their face. All the shit we've been through with Zack Snyder, all the stuff that's going on. They weren't going to do a Snyder cut. Then fans forced him to do a Snyder cut, and then all of a sudden rumors came out. Hey, maybe he's going to be able to continue his version of the DCU after the Snyder cut releases. Well, Snyder cut basically put that baby to bed in this article with Joe Blow. Where he was talking and he said, look, I never thought I'd be here doing this. I didn't think I'd be finishing Justice League. The truth is, it's been widely reported and I have no issue. This is an old movie. This is a years old movie I'm working on. The DC universe is gone and branched off and done its own thing, and that's fine. As far as what I did and as far as what my vision for what I wanted to do with these characters and the journey I wanted them to go on, it's well known that I planned on more movies, 5 movies or something, but I'm busy. Yeah. I've got a lot going on. Is it cool that the fans have had so much faith in the trajectory? Yes, it's amazing, and I couldn't be happier, and I'm excited for them to see Justice League so they can really drink the entire elixir of Justice League. But would I continue? I have no plan to. But as I said, I didn't think I'd be here, so who knows?
You know what? I can't blame him, dude. I can't blame him for wanting to make this. I mean, he's right. It's a years old movie. It's, you know, I'm sure he wants to go on and do other things. I mean, he's fought tooth and nail to get this thing made. The fans helped him get it. Obviously, the fans are the real reason that we were getting this. And fuck yeah, that's awesome. But I think that, you know, he's looking at Warner Brothers. And again, it kind of goes back to the fact that Warner Brothers is like a chicken with its head cut off. He's like, man, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And like me being in that role, I don't want to be a Kevin Feige. And he doesn't want to. Like, could you imagine, like, just the pressure that he would probably have to face? I mean, it's like he's doing this movie, and then he's like, all right, well, there's going to be, like, 4 other films after this, but they're all doing the Flashpoint, and there's all these other movies that are already gone on without me, and now I got to figure out how to fucking tie those things in with my movie. What the shit? And it'd be like Scanners. And I think he's just, you know, look, I want to see some other stuff from Zack Snyder. People want to hate. They love to hate on Zack Snyder and his vision for the, you know, I personally liked it. I thought that he did a great job with what he had. And you know, if it wasn't for him, we never would have got the ultimate kick-assery of Ben Affleck as Batman. But nonetheless, I think that him doing this movie and giving the fans like a nice I love you letter, which is like exactly what this is, the Zack Snyder cut of the Justice League, and then moving on like a boss, shit on Deborah's desk, like a boss. Like let him do it, man. Like he's had his fill, and you know, and it sucks, but he did leave out the hope that he could return. I mean, maybe, who the fuck knows, but
look, I think the best case scenario, and you know, I'm sorry, call me Peter Pan, call me Count Chocula if you want to, but I would love to see a world where Zack Snyder got to continue his vision. That where, okay, so the only possible steps that this could possibly lay out and happen for a perfect universe for me is this. Snyder Cut comes out, fucking rules. It's a fucking riot. People go crazy. They're like, fuck Joss Whedon. This is the shit I'm talking about. Holy shit, this is amazing. And that could happen. That might fucking happen. I believe it's going to be amazing. But it rules. It rules so fucking hard. We will go to Houston and we will rule. It rules so fucking hard that fans start clamoring again. They're like, no, dude, we got to see where this story was meant to be. We got to see it. And Zack Snyder's, you know, taken back by it, and he says, okay, I'll do it. And Warner Brothers says, okay, we'll do it too. So then Warner Brothers goes and they say, hey, let's finish your trajectory. Let's take your DC, and even Ben Affleck comes back and says, that fucking ruled. That was the movie I made. They come back. Everybody agrees to come back. And again, this is a fucking pipe dream. I know it. But everybody agrees to come back and they say, let's finish your trajectory. Let's do what you were going to do. Maybe tighten it down to a few less movies, less standalone movies, more Justice League movies. Do whatever they got to do. Tell the Dark Seed, all that. But over here in this pocket, they do it. They make those movies, right? Zack Snyder has his Zack Snyder DCEU universe, and that's going on over here. But meanwhile, we're still going to do Robert Pattinson. We're still going to fucking make Joker 2, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? We're still going to make a Green Lantern movie. All these are going to have nothing to do with what Zack Snyder's doing over here. If they could find a way to brand that and very explicitly show this is Zack Snyder's universe, this is what DC's doing, I think it'd be the best of both worlds. But that's never going to fucking happen. I know, but I like to believe.
Well, I would smoke that pipe with you, but I believe, I think he's done. Not Joss. I was reading Joss Whedon sucks in the chat. It got me distracted. It's cockeyed. I was like cockeyed over there. But Zack Snyder's done, man. Like I think the guy has put his heart and soul into this movie as much as he can, and he's right. Look, I would love to see what he would like do with another comic book property, or if he was going to do a one-off, like maybe not a Justice League movie, maybe not a part 2 or part 3, just do his own. Like if they were like, hey, Zach, come over here and do some kind of do Hellblazer or something. I don't know. Like let him take the reins of another superhero character and do something within the DC universe. But I feel like, man. It really sucks if like you just think about what like could have been, because he was already on a great trajectory with I think with the universe around him, that dark tone, and I would have loved to seen what he had done if that tragedy hadn't happened to him, but unfortunately it did. But it's still, it's not. I don't think anybody's that shocked, honestly. I mean, him coming out and saying I'm not going to do any more Justice League movies and I'm kind of going to go on. I don't think they're shocked. It's
a shocker that we're here even now that he's even doing the Snyder cut. But Todd. Jakosh. I don't know if we're saying your name right. Great fucking point, though. He said, I'd like to see an HBO Max series of episodes. That's one way. If you're really worried about, fans are going to be confused if you do the Zack Snyder DC universe versus everything else DC has going on, you're going to be confused about it. One way to clearly brand that and make that very, very easy for audiences to understand is, what if Zack Snyder's universe continued in TV format? What if it continued on HBO Max in a series format, and then the movies are the movies? That would be very easy to understand, right?
I think that, well, I'm sure that that's something that Warner Brothers is probably looking at, because they're already seeing the success that the Mandalorian is having over at Disney Plus with their properties. John Favreau on board with that, and Dave Filoni helping write it. So if they were like, hey, Zach, here's a lot of money, can you maybe help structure a storyline? Because that would also be a really good vehicle for them to do live action independent stories without having to put a lot of risk into making full feature length movies like Joker. And they just tell a one-off 45-minute story per, a character or something, like a DC character, like a Batman story, just a 45-minute Batman story that's really dark or whatever, and then go on. And then the next one would be a Superman story, or the next one would be a Flash or something like that.
Right, exactly. Hey, Ash Williams, you have a cool name and you have a great icon, and what you're saying I'm sure is not true, because nobody actually knows at this point, but stop pretend spoiling Halloween Kills. We don't want to have to kick you out of the chat, man. Just stop.
Don't you do that.
He's saying, I could say that too. Hey, Michael shits his pants in Halloween Kills. By the way, Lori dies.
Get that question answered. Does he use a toilet?
Yeah, but
I want to see it.
Yeah, quit with the spoiler shit, man. Let people fucking enjoy it. They want to see the movie. Don't be a dick. But yeah, on that note, we're gonna take a little breaky poo. But do you have anything you want to say? Sorry, I just kind of said we're leaving.
No, I didn't know. Is the fucking movie out? Like, how does he know? How do you know?
They don't, man. It's people.
You asshole.
He read a script on Reddit somewhere and thinks that it was real.
I bet he was like, he came in here. He's like he said, "Oh, it's really like name's Ash. House swears."
All right, Ash, you can believe the spoiler's real or not if you want to. If you do, I got a fucking Buffalo Nickel I'd like to say. But either way, just don't say him in the chat, because we'd like you to stay around and hang out, man. Don't make us kick you out.
Take your ass out of here and hope a boomstick gets cut up your butthole. Goodbye.
God, Vanessa, you're fucking right. Can I get a Man of Steel 2? She says. That is what needs to fucking happen.
You know what? We're gonna lose. We're losing him, man. Henry Cavill doesn't have much. I mean, he's been dicked around long enough, and that man does the dicking. No one dicks him around.
Yeah.
He's probably gonna get James Bond, and I think he's gone after that.
Yeah. Avery says, I'm guessing he's gone to the screening. I'm guessing, trust me, I've talked to people who've gone to the screening. He hasn't. But no, dude. What do you think about this, by the way, before we go to our first break? Someone mentioned the other day, they were like, what if Wonder Woman 3 is also Man of Steel 2? What if?
See, no, I don't like it. I just want him to have his own fucking movie.
I agree with that.
I wanted him to say Man of Steel 2 starring Henry Cavill, and that's it. Like, I wanted to see where that would go.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I really want to see the love story between Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman Superman. That's always fascinating, especially with Lois going on there. But yeah, I want a Man of Steel 2. He deserves his own fucking movie.
the baby would be like Drax described. It looked like a pirate had sex with an angel. But no, look, here's the thing. I really feel bad for Henry Cavill, dude. Out of all the people in the stable that they could have utilized more than anybody else, that's the guy is Henry Cavill, and he just gets dicked on and has to be like supporting role. I was like, God, dude, you have like one of the best Supermans you could have, and you've done absolutely really nothing with him.
Yep.
And he's a gamer, he's a nerd, he's a good guy, and he's got like a beautiful face that was chiseled from marble. And you're not going to do anything with that guy except let him sit on the shelf forever. And then you lose him to James Bond, because that's what's going to happen.
Which I'd be okay with. He'd be a great James Bond.
Yeah, he's going to be a great James Bond.
All right, guys. So coming up the rest of the show, we're going to take a quick break real fast. We'll be back in about under 10 minutes, I'd say. When we come back, we're going to talk about maybe the coolest, in my opinion, Halloween 4 script that we never saw happen. It's fucking crazy. You're going to want to hear this if you don't know about it already. We're going to talk about a Halloween 4 unmade script, and then in the final hour of the show, we're going to talk about Cobra Kai Season 3 spoilers. So hang out, throw a load of laundry in, make you a drink. We'll be right back.
All right, we'll see you in a bit.
Suck some dick.
Yeah, get it done.
Hey guys, welcome back to We Watch Movie. I'm Mike.
I'm Jay.
And we decided, you know what? There's a bunch of Halloween comic books out there. That have some new, original, crazy-ass stories that we've never talked about before. So we're going to go comic book by comic book, starting with Chaos Comics. Back in 2000, they released Halloween #1. Collector's item classic.
So break out your decoder ring and get your nerdy underwear on. We're going to get geeky with you right now.
Shit. Digs deeper into the movies than you've ever seen someone dig into the Charmin roll.
Ooh.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
That's diarrhea.
I don't know what to do.
If you're digging into the Charmin roll on the toilet, then you really had a bad experience.
Look, Halloween's an amazing franchise. It's so fucking great, man. You've got all these movies, shit tons of movies, and you've got novels, and you have comic books. And some of these comic books are really, really interesting.
Doesn't it blow your mind, though?
It blows me.
It blows you hard.
Someone's going to blow me?
Assemble your crew.
It blows your mind because the fact is, it's so... genuinely one of the coolest franchises ever, Michael Myers and Halloween, that it transcends film and it goes to books, novelizations, and comic books.
And the comic books are so good, and they're so well written, and they're so fun that they actually add to the lore of Michael Myers. And we're going to start with this one, and we're going to do an episode of these for each one of the Halloween comic books until we've done them all. Fuck!
We're going to get all up in that with no glove.
No lube.
Spread it on.
So it starts out, and you've got Tommy Doyle, which, as I see it, as Paul Rudd, Halloween 6 Tommy Doyle. There's a version of
a Jericho
Tommy
version
Doyle
of him, yes.
He doesn't exactly look like Paul Rudd's Tommy Doyle, but that's just the way I see him in my mind. So Tommy Doyle is calling Smith's Grove about Dr. Loomis's old records. He wants to get Dr. Loomis's old records about what happened while Dr. Loomis was Michael Myers' psychologist in the early days.
And why would you want to get those? Because you can sell a lot of books. And he looks like Joaquin Phoenix during The Gladiator.
And he's talking to a Mr. Cyphers, which is obviously a play on Charles Cyphers from the Halloween series. But when he shows up to pick up the documents, Mr. Cyphers runs into Michael Myers of all people. And
good, though.
You've got this great backlog as Michael Myers is raising the knife to kill him. You see Loomis's voice in the background, and it's saying, "The 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face," and that's going on in the backdrop. Michael Myers pulls his head back and kills him, and the best part is when he goes, "The blackest eyes, the devil's eyes." The comic book goes right into Michael's face, and you can see those black eyes. So Michael kills Cyphers, but as he kills him, he's looking at this file, and he sees pictures of his dead sister. And then the comic book takes you back to '78, and it shows the original events where Michael's looking at his sister who bangs the dude upstairs, and he comes like, "Call you later," and he runs down the steps and runs out the house.
Better.
Michael Myers is hiding behind the door after killing Cyphers, and he's going to take out Tommy too. But a security guard shows up, and he's like, "Hey, get the fuck out of here, Lonnie! Get your ass away from there!"
The guard eventually lets him leave with the notes, and when the door shuts, you got this cool moment where Michael's standing behind in the shadows. He emerges out, and you see the body of Dr. Cypher, goddamn pinwheel to the door, and Michael just looking at it.
It looks like Beavis just choked on some nachos. Like,
Yeah, you wonder though, like, didn't they feel like the fucking, like, the door was heavier than normal? Like, is this motherfucker steel? Because like,
Michael has the head tilt though.
Oh, I know, but it's a wooden door, and if there's a body attached to it, and you open the door up, you're like, damn, this door is fucking heavy. And if you flapped it,
Bitch, it's a comic book.
Something would be like, you're like, oh, something's on the other side.
So we go to Tommy Doyle's house in Haddonfield 3 hours later, and Tommy's he's sitting in he's a writer. He's sitting in his room with his coffee and with his Jack Daniels, and he's reading through the files.
This reminds me of H6.
Yeah, and it's
like
right
the obsessive stuff.
And it's right before Halloween night that he's doing all this, and he's reading through the files, and Dr. Loomis says, "I'll never forget my first session with Michael. They were right. It seemed there was nothing left of the boy." He goes through his whole thing about where Loomis was trying to talk the guy who ran Smith's Grove, Dr. Carpenter.
John Carpenter, I think that was a homage.
And he's trying to tell him, like, look, we need to do something special with this kid. He shouldn't be here. And Dr. Carpenter's like, no, fuck that. He's a patient here. Go, whatever.
I think it's really interesting to focus on, like, the attitude that Dr. Loomis had in the beginning of the comic book versus how it ends later on in the comic book. Because what you get is that Loomis did care about Michael. Dr. Loomis was saying to him, I can help this kid, but this environment is not conducive to an environment that I can actually do my job as a psychologist and reach Michael. Because basically what you're saying is that this traumatic night that happened in 1978, he's nothing more than a killer, and you're going to throw him into a juvie hole, basically, inside Smith's Grove with other killers that are unredeemable. And so he's fighting for Michael in this instance by saying that he's just a kid. He's a 6-year-old kid. He didn't know what he was doing, and we need a different environment to reach him. And Dr. Carpenter's like, well, you're a dumbass. He resigns himself to be like, well, I got to work with what I got.
Yeah.
I got to work with what I have to work with. And we go from there.
So they put him in this home with these other boys, and one of the kids also killed his sister in his trouble. One of the kids is like an obsessive eater. He's like a big fat kid that they call Donut, who just obsessively eats. Another one of the kids is obsessed with religion and the Bible and is constantly being creepy and quoting the Bible. And another kid is just a straight psychopath who reminds me of the guy who looks like Philip Rivers in Friday the 13th 5. When he's just like chopping the wood and he's just crazy.
He does look like that, yeah.
But they put Michael in this home with all these other boys, and they start fucking with him, obviously. But when they start fucking with Michael, Michael retaliates, and these kids end up dying in horrendous ways. This is a tie into the novel, the original novel that was written for Halloween way back in the day. And that novel, when they talked about Loomis and Myers and how he was trying to care for him, they do a lot of the same stuff there. Whereas when someone would mess with Michael, or even if they didn't, they would end up dying in mysterious ways. And even though Michael could never have the deaths pinned to him, even if he wasn't in the same room, whenever someone would say something snarky to Michael, like, hey, bitch, you ate my Snickers bar,
what?
That kid would end up dead.
It felt like more of an Omen, like the Omen movie. Like, Michael is touched by an evil force that we can't explain.
Well, the first kid, he rips his eye out using a crayon, and then
that motherfucker was magenta.
Another kid, the kid who talks about the Bible so much, ends up committing suicide by choking on his own tongue.
You see, in my opinion, the slow, maddening realization of Dr. Loomis when he accepts the fact that Michael is purely evil. He is the devil. There is something about him that you can't explain away with science, and I can't psychoanalyze him and figure out what's wrong with him, except for one part, which is interesting, when he does give Michael a sheet of paper and asks him to draw what he feels. And
we're back. If you guys want to go watch that video that you're watching, if you want to finish it later, then just look up Halloween comic book walkthrough. We watched the movie, and you'll see that.
That was good times. That was a good comic book.
Yeah, man. We got to do, once we get back together and start filming again, we're going to finish up that series.
I can't wait.
It's going to be nice. Yeah, a bunch of people are always like, dude, when are you going to finish the comic book series? I'm like, dude, like 8 people watch that, but we will.
Well, when are we going to react to Die by My Knife? I mean, come on.
Oh, man. All right. So, burp. Next part of the shit is we're talking about this little ditty right here.
That's a sexual book.
Oh, look how shiny it is. Look how shiny it is.
Oh, so good.
It's so shiny. Yeah, Taking Shape 2, Dustin McNeil, Travis Mullins. There is, if you guys know the show, we do a show on here. One of the things that we have going is we do versions of Halloween that never made the screen. And that's basically literally what this book is. I mean, it's just a bunch of awesome stories about Halloween sequels that never fucking happened. So definitely check that out. You can get it on Amazon. It's a fucking great read. Like literally the video we're about to do is just about one chapter of it. It's so cool. And this is a version of Halloween 4 that never made the screen. And it's fucking wild. The screenplay for this one was by Mark Allen Medina and Daniel Kinney. And right before we get into that, let me knock out these super chats real quick. Thank you so much, Jamie Wright. You're a lovely human being, and I like the way your face tastes. He says,
sexual man.
Spending the evening with the girls, just checking in briefly, but finished Cobra Kai today. Damn, the show is better than it has any right to be. And did they use all the Ninja Turtles weapons in the finale? They fucking did, dude.
They really did.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, they raided Splinter's closet.
Yeah, if you get a chance, Jamie, that's what we're talking about the final hour of the show. We're talking about all the spoilers from Cobra Kai 3. But yeah, dude, it was dope. Thank you very much, man. We love you. David Nangle III, thanks, buddy. He says, this is a huge dream, but I would love to see Ryan Gosling as Red Hood. Oh, fuck.
That's a really good idea, man. I could totally see that. I could dig that.
Yeah, dude. Versus Batfleck. That's fucking...
Ryan yeah, him, or I even go with Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, dude. Well, Ryan Gosling is Red Hood versus Batfleck is what he's saying.
Oh, I thought for some reason I heard Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, I could see that too.
I could go with. I mean, I'll be fine, but he's Deadpool too. It'd be funny if he also became Deathstroke and then made fun of himself that he plays two different characters that rip each other off.
Weirdly, Red Hood kind of looks like both of them in its own way. Yeah. But he said they could make it emotional and have John Hamm as Black Mask. Fuck, dude, you should be a casting agent. Jesus Christ, that would be amazing.
Great.
And as the real villain in the background, just a dream. That's a good fucking dream, bro. That's a good fucking dream. Blair Heartless, thank you so much. Says I was like Amelia, the Mighty Duckman. I swear to God. Not sure if y'all received my box yet. I sent it before Halloween, so make sure to check the expiration date on the Halloween candy before eating. LOL. I love these live streams. You fucking got it.
Thank you.
We're behind as fuck on unboxings, but I will try to let you know when we do that. For sure. We've got I'm thinking maybe, dude, if we get together again soon, like in the next week or something, if we get together for the first time in a while, maybe just doing a gigantic unboxing, like just a huge fucking unboxing that's like 2 hours long.
That'd be fun. You guys want to see us get real shit faced and do that? We'll do that.
Man, those unboxings are crazy. They're crazy. I like it, but you're crazy. But all right. Thank you so much, Blair and Jamie. So, guys, this is nuts. So this version of Halloween 4, again, it was made by Mark Allen Medina and Daniel Kinney. And if you guys remember, we did a video a while back about the Dennis Etchison version of Halloween 4. That was even before the Taking Shape 2 had come out. In that Halloween 4 script that was never made, John Carpenter actually had a little bit more involvement in it. And Michael in this thing was crazy supernatural. Like, he literally grew to 12 feet tall at one point. He regenerated on sight. It was a wild, batshit fucking crazy script. Right?
An acid trip.
Yeah. So when they were doing that, when they were trying to figure out what they're going to do for Halloween 4, part of the problem was that there was a lot of partners involved. And nobody could agree on any one path to take Michael. But Malek Akkad said he had one thing he wanted to make sure didn't happen. He's like, I want to make sure, I don't like that super duper supernatural Myers. I want a Michael Myers that is still walking the line between supernatural and original. So his one rule...
Like Shredder, but not Super Shredder.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to kill us all.
Exactly. And that was his one rule. So he bought up all these guys' rights. So Malek Akkad, for the first time, had all the rights to Halloween. He could do what he wanted to it. And he put a call out to both Writers Guild writers and non-Writers Guild writers. And he said, hey, pitch me some shit. And they said they had hundreds of scripts. This was one of them, and it came from non-Writers Guild writers. And his one rule was that Michael could not be uber supernatural. And that's where it all started with this. It's crazy.
Like I said, man, if you had a coherent Iggy Pop, it would be this movie for sure. Like I said at the beginning, that's exactly it's. But you know what? It's not bad. But the author actually makes, like he says, he's like, if this thing could pop off the pages and snort coke, it would. It's such an 80s movie. The only thing I didn't like, I mean, most of I didn't. I didn't love everything about it, but one of the things I just did not fucking like, I'm like, you ain't doing that. You ain't doing that in my home, is when they changed the outfit for Michael. I'm like, no fucking way. You're going to step out and that'd be like putting bat nips on the bat suit with a cod piece. It's like, you can't have it. Like at one point, they literally have Michael dressed in leather pants with a leather jacket and like throwing up a set of Porsche keys, catching it. And I just thought of like, I don't know, like some kind of Duran story. Come on. It's like, don't fucking do it. Don't you do it.
It's fucking crazy, man. And we'll get to that. But so like, and by the way, Ringy542, thank you very much. Says, would you ever like to actually see a legit Michael versus Jason movie? Honest to God, no. I mean, I would like to watch it, but if they did that at any point in the future, it would just really just tank the franchise. I feel like right now Halloween is on a trajectory of being taken serious, and they can try to do some really artsy stuff with it. I think in 20 years, maybe when there's just not going to be a Michael Myers movie unless they do something insane and crazy, then I would like to see them make the movie. I'd like to watch it, but I don't think it'd be good for either franchise.
Michael versus a Jason movie is basically the death knell into a Halloween.
Right.
I mean, like you have no other outs, and then that was what they would do. If Halloween was just dead in the water and they had to do something to inject some new blood into it, that's exactly what they do. So yeah, there's some good like fan films on YouTube that explore that very. I mean, there's one that me and Mike got into that shit. It was like a Royal Rumble like pay-per-view. We were cheering and like there was like oil and we wrestled on the floor. It was great. It was a good time. It wasn't just a Saturday night. It was a great wrestling event. But yeah, Michael versus Jason. If both franchises were actually DOA. And I'm not, Friday the 13th is technically that, but if things get worked out in the court systems, it may not be that way forever. But if they were both just fucked, then you have them come in and fight, man, that'd be a great time. Yeah.
Again, I'd love to see it. But okay, so this script, going into the actual script of what happens. So it picks up after Halloween 2, right? It picks up after that. Michael and Loomis, they're both hurt from the explosion at the end of Halloween 2. Michael, a lot more so than Loomis. It says something like 85% of his body was severely burned. They put them, they take them both to the hospital. They airlift Michael on a stretcher. Loomis wasn't as badly burned, but they airlift Michael on a stretcher to take him to the Chicago hospital in the middle of Chicago. Mm-hmm. And while they're above Lake Michigan, the cord breaks. Now, in the script, the way it reads is that the cord was just an old cord and they didn't check it and it breaks. I like to think that Michael was like, get me the fuck out of here. And he found a way to break it. But either way, Michael's body, near death, just tumbles into the Lake Michigan. And
that motherfucking helicopter was a budget express helicopter. There was like some rickety ass little shit out there. I'm like, man, come on, man, go ahead and fuel that copter. I was like, man, that thing hasn't flown since the Korean War. It's like, go ahead and do it. We're cutting some budgets. That was such a like. I mean, you know what? It's stupid, but at the same time, it fits for the script. The fact that this mass murderer, this killer that everybody's terrified of, how he gets out and away from the cops and the pursuing authorities is like he gets airlifted and his ass gets dropped into the magical Lake of Michigan. Like I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know. It's just weird. It's funny, but but it goes back to because when they did the interview with it, I don't even think the guy knew. The two guys writing the script were like, how's it come back then? He's like, I don't fucking know. He fell into some water, and the goddamn lady of the lake gave him a second chance. They didn't even think that far ahead.
That's kind of how he explained it too when they asked him, because the script apparently doesn't do a very good job of explaining how he got out of the lake, what happened, and this kind of goes right against what we said earlier about a cod wanting him not to be too supernatural. But the guy said basically, he's the Terminator. That's part of the reason why you don't know. I think that this is one of those things that I think it's not a great plot point. The idea of Michael fucking strapped to a goddamn
gurney. I'd laugh my ass off.
And falling like, oh shit. And you can see Michael's eyes open as he goes into the water.
Where he saw his little feet going. He goes, I need medical treatment.
Like it's one of those things that it could be, if written a little bit better, maybe a rewrite, maybe you could fix that. So it's not the worst idea in the world. But Michael goes into the ocean, Loomis gets healed up. But even before the title drops, you see Laurie, the original version of this. We'll get to what happens later, but in the original version of this, Jamie Lee Curtis is in the story, Laurie Strode's in the story, and you see this flash by of her in psychiatry. She's dealing with PTSD, all the normal Laurie stuff that we're come to. She's having panic attacks, but the difference is in this, the movie is a full-on 1980s MTV laden fucking film, they say. I mean, it's a full-on, when MTV was good, type of MTV film. They're in the 80s in a bustling Chicago. We're not in Haddonfield. Laurie is now a successful journalist. I want to say it's like successful.
Yeah, she's the like an editor in chief of like a Vogue magazine or some shit like that.
Yeah, something like People magazine, something like that.
Yeah.
She's doing she's very successful. She has a husband, she has a kid. She's super successful, and she's in the bustling 80s. She's a successful businesswoman, but she keeps having these panic attacks. She's dealing with anxiety, but she doesn't remember Michael Myers. She doesn't remember what happened. And then it turns out you find out who's her psychiatrist. It's fucking Dr. Loomis, which is crazy.
Like I always feel like Dr. Loomis, like, well, my goddamn patient's dead, and I gotta worry about your crazy ass. Don't kill anybody, okay? You've been blocking off these emotions. You're crazy as shit, but you've got big shoulder pads because you live in Chicago and a very successful businesswoman. That's what you are. You know what's funny is, like, I feel like when they would go to the Chicago scene, I would hope that the main thing would be like they would play Flock of Seagulls. And I ran. You would have that. You know, I kind of dig. I would dig it. I kind of would. The whole scene and setting. I did like the fact that it's in Chicago, but the whole and Laurie dealing with PTSD basically and blocking off those painful memories. It makes sense too. It actually does make a lot of sense, and it would actually lend a better story in a lot of ways than. I'm not saying it would be better than what we got with Halloween 4, the actual OG Halloween 4, but I feel like it would be a really good telling, especially dealing with that emotion and that PTSD of Laurie Strode.
Yeah, there's some really, really good stuff in it. Like, regardless, I don't know which one I'd want, but there's some good stuff in here. So when Loomis is introduced, do you have it in front of you, Jay, what he actually says into the tape recorder?
What page is it?
It's on 65, page 65. So
I feel like I'm back in fucking school.
Yeah, please read from page 65.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. I'll try. Okay, yeah. Michael Myers burned to death on October 31st, 1978, but not before leaving an open wound within Laurie Strode. These dreams not only plague her sleep, but threaten to interfere with her waking hours. One day soon she will remember. My only prayer is when this happens, I will be there. Cue R. Kelly.
Stop killing me with this shit. So that's the audio that's taken from the script, what Loomis says cool. When he reappears, and that's dope. But as you go on, when you pick up with what's going on with Michael Myers, so you see Laurie crying, you see all the stuff going on. She's in therapy. She doesn't know why. Loomis decides that what he needs to do is treat her with hypnotherapy. So he treats her with hypnotherapy, and I get, and they talk about this in the book, like about why Loomis is her doctor, and that's maybe he feels some guilt for what happened to her due to Michael, because she doesn't remember Michael Myers, she doesn't remember what happens, but he's her doctor, and that's kind of weird. But it's because he has some guilt over Michael and all that. But he treats her with hypnotherapy, and while she's under, which by the way, this is very fucking Nightmare on Elm Street. Some of it is when they get into it. While she's under, she comes to and she realizes, oh my God. It's Michael Myers. She remembers. And then after that, she is looking at pictures that she got developed, and she sees in a picture Michael Myers in the background in her fucking home while she was taking the pictures.
That's so weird. You know what that gives me? That gives me like Sinister vibes. But cool. But cool. But I always think it's funny. Like you would see Michael, and then the more that she develops the pictures in that red room, like it would be Michael, and then Michael Myers would slowly move away behind a tree. Like each picture, like what if somebody took subsequent pictures of her and then or of the house, and you would see him go like this, he'd be like 1, 2. Each picture he'd be like trying to step behind a bush or something.
It's like he's photobombing your pictures like in the background. But I see that being a freaky scene in a movie though. Like when she's going through, imagine going through your pictures and all of a sudden fucking Michael's faint face in the background. Oh my God, that could be cool.
They kind of talked about like the fact that it was going to be more of a psychological, at least in the way, not all of it, but the fact that they had those moments where like, how the blood drops in Halloween 2, you see the slow blood drop. Like they were going to have shit like that, like a very nightmarish sequences going on as she was experiencing her nightmares and anxiety and panic attacks, which could work. I mean, it's a lot different than what you would normally get out of a Halloween movie. I mean, I think it would work in the setting, and I think it would work all right. But it's so weird. Because it's just like, I'm not saying that Dr. Loomis shouldn't have been. Obviously, he should have been. Donald Pleasance is a gold treasure, but it's just so weird that he goes from because they didn't have a personal relationship, Lori and him, at all in Halloween 1 or 2. They're barely there. But then in Halloween 4, he's like, yeah, I'll take your shit over. Come on over here. Like he was like, yeah, I goes, I couldn't help that ass, so I help you. Okay. It makes it so weird. Like, because you would think, honestly, what got me about the whole thing, you would think that Donald Pleasance would be hell fucking bent on making sure the body of Michael Myers was either recovered, and if it was recovered, then burnt the fuck up with acid or a fat man setting on it till it crushed its skull or something. I don't know.
Again, a really fucking simple thing to fix in the script. Like, if they do a rewrite, they add in a scene where Loomis, like, he's treating her, and you got that scene, but then they show him like talking to some sheriffs or wherever. Like, I don't believe it. I don't care what's going on. That I want to see his body. They could really do a great job of explaining how Michael got out of the ocean, of the lake, Michigan, and also where his whereabouts are as far as the community was concerned, with just an extra scene added on. It's something that I think is really fixable, which a lot of these other pre-scripts that we read that never happened, they have shit in them that's unfixable. But so it goes on. So Michael's back, okay, and the first this is where it gets crazy, but it's cool. I like it. I fucking like it, man. So Lori's doing this expose with her big new gig. She drives a BMW. She lives in high rise, has a kid, has a husband. She's doing this expose on a rock star. And it says that they were going to get a big named rock star to play a cameo in this role. She's doing a cameo, an interview, an expose on a rock star. And that's kind of how Michael finds her. You have this crazy fucking scene, man. And it's so cool the way the guy explains it. By the way, how this all came to be was one of the dudes who wrote it was in a new wave band at the time. And they were a pretty big band. They were playing at like the Whiskey A Go-Go, doing all this shit. And basically he had a rich friend who was in cahoots with Malek Akkad, who thought he was an interesting guy. And he said, hey, you want to write this with me? And so apparently the way the script writes out, it's totally 80s MTV, like we said. And it's got all this crazy shit. And that all comes from this rock star that was helping write the script, which is just so fucking cool. But anyways, she's doing this expose on this rock star. And they mentioned, by the way, later on that he had a Sammy Hagar type as the guy.
Well, because the interviewer also said Alice Cooper might have been in the running for it too. Oh, no, he was mentioning that he said Alice Cooper and Dokken had already done their respective Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street 4. By the way, you guys got to remember that this script was literally made in the shadow of those films. Those films had really embraced the MTV culture at the time. And the book even reads and says the fact that Halloween had, like Mike mentioned, so many creators pulling in so many different directions. They didn't have a singular focus. So Nightmare on Elm Street series and Friday the 13th were basically burying the Halloween series in its dust. I mean, it was just like they couldn't get anything together, and they were just embracing MTV. So yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Pretty cool if you think about it for the time being. But so Michael goes to this rock star's house, and apparently there's these great Panavision shots of, you get to see, it's like the rock star with Mark Wahlberg when he's walking around the mansion. He's like, oh my God, can you believe these are the lapels from the show or whatever? Yeah. You get this huge Panavision shot of this rock star's mansion, and you get to see Michael Myers, like basically in an episode of MTV Cribs, like the camera's panning around and you see Michael Myers in this dude's rock star mansion. Michael, it's fucking, dude, it's the coolest thing I ever.
It's cool, but it's kind of stupid. It's just so weird.
It's stupid, but like if you just like lean into it, it's like, oh my God, I'd love to see this shit, because it gets even kookier. But he's in this rock star's fucking mansion, and he kills the rock star. He kills the rock star's groupie while he's there. This is the one thing you mentioned it earlier. I don't like it either. It's the first thing I'd take out of the script. Michael, after he kills the guy, goes into his closet and he puts on some of the rock star's clothes. And it's leather pants. Okay, this is the worst part of the script. It's leather pants, a leather jacket, and black gloves with the Michael Myers mask on. And then he finds the guy's Porsche keys.
Yeah.
And when he finds his keys to his Porsche, there's a scene where Michael throws up the keys and catches them. Like,
that's like, it reads like some fucking, like, I feel like that's what David Hasselhoff did after he got up off the floor when he was drunk for the Wendy's commercial that never really happened. And not to mention the fact that you're telling me, this is what you're telling me, that Michael Myers, okay, broke into this rock star's house, and I understand, like, he's not picky about the clothes he wore, but he personally chose leather pants because he don't wear fucking underwear because he doesn't take a shit, he doesn't care, but he chose leather panties And leather pants probably to go on top of that, then a leather jacket, and then just, I mean, maybe the Porsche was the only car in the garage, but then flips him up in the air and catches him like he's a badass rock star. Like at that point, it's like, Jesus Cristo. I don't know about this one, Jim, because because you got to picture it in your mind. Literally, Michael Myers, like one of the baddest of the bad serial killers of all time, and one of the coolest, film horror villains ever. Like literally picks leather pants and a leather jacket to go out into the world to start some shit, Zed. It's funny, but it's almost becoming a parody at this point, because the fact that he would do that's almost a parody.
I fucking hate it, dude. Like as a serious like Michael Myers film, I hate it. But god damn it, do I want to fucking see it? Could you imagine if you're sitting in the theater watching a movie like around the time Halloween 4 came out, and you got that scene where Michael's like, and the camera zooms in on his hand as he catches the keys, and then you see a Porsche like back out and like Twisted Sisters playing. It's like, we're not gonna take it.
I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie, as stupid as it is, dude, I might shit my pants with glee if I saw that happen. I don't fucking know.
I mean, I'd probably shit my pants with glee, but at the inside die a little bit and be like, oh my god.
It's a bit of both, dude. It's a fucking bit of both. But again,
I always feel like it'd be like maybe in the Patriots, like, how could it have come to this? Farmers with pitchforks. Because it's like, it's kind of, I don't know, you go from Halloween 2 and then it's all working up to cool shit and it's the 80s vibe, and then boom, fucking cue David Hasselhoff and Knight Rider.
It's wild. But again, the rest of the script, it really tightens up after that. It does, that is the wildest shit. Like, it really does tighten up after that. And again, I honestly, God, like, I prefer that 80s corny shit over Michael like fucking making doppelgangers like in the last script we read, or like
that was crazy,
using mind games and shit like that. Before we continue, let me say Edward Santiago says Michael Myers spinning like that one lady. You know the video, the one where everybody goes wee when you watch it. Like, I guess he means when he's in the helicopter fucking spinning around. Oh, yeah. Windy, I can fly. Marco V. Toro, thanks, buddy. Really appreciate that. He says it would have been a cool. It would have been cool that even as he is treating her, Dr. Loomis has been following on sightings people have turned in of Michael Myers after his body was never found and fears he's made his way to Laurie. That's a cool thing too. Like if he's like, no, it's seen, and they're like, that's just some kook in the sun. You know what I mean?
I like Kevin Ziegler. He said grease for Michael. You go like, yeah, some fucking grease. You know the one that I want? Michael. Boo, 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 stab you.
Fucking crazy, dude. But okay, so moving on in the script, after that happens, you get a wild fucking death scene. So now Michael Myers has killed the rock star, which would be cool to see him kill a big rock star that made a cameo in the movie. But he takes this Porsche, and there's been a lot made over the years of Michael Myers driving, how he learned to drive, blah 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 blah. Apparently by accident, Michael's driving the fucking Porsche, and at one point he pulls up next to Laurie, but he's got his windows up in tint, so she doesn't know he's there. She doesn't. That part I don't love. Yeah,
he's like, hey, yeah, what kind of sound system you got, dog? Is that Bose?
Not too far off though of Halloween when he pulls up and he sees them when he's driving by. But eventually he loses control of the Porsche, and he, by accident, kind of the way it reads, he slams into a bunch of moviegoers, and he kills 13 people with the Porsche by crashing it into a movie theater. The camera pans up after he kills these people with the Porsche, and what fucking movie were they in line to go see? Halloween 4.
Yeah, I do like the fact that they point out that the Porsche is a stick. And then Michael thought he was downshifting, and he didn't actually downshift, so he fucked up. So Michael didn't even mean to kill him; it was an accident. He was like, I feel like there was like there should be like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Like he hits that shit, like he hits the shit wrong. It's not like Michael meant to plow into a bunch of innocent people going to see a movie, but it's like because he didn't know how to drive fucking stick. Like I wouldn't know how to drive it either. He's skidded.
But he's like, hey, I don't feel bad either. I didn't mean to do this, but I don't feel bad.
No, it says he drives off in the Porsche, but it almost is like a friend of yours. If you have an accident, like, dude, I don't have insurance. I don't know. He's like, dude, just hit the gas and go. He's like, I don't have no insurance.
If they really wanted to go with the comedic aspect from the taking of the keys and the grabbing of the keys, when Michael kills these people and there's like people screaming around, there's blood on the windshield. If the camera pans to his face and he's like,
you know what I mean? Or like where you like skid it to a stop and you just see him go, I gotta get out of here.
It's fucking crazy.
Yo, bro, the cops are coming, bro. Just go, bro.
So at one point after this happens, Laurie's realized that Michael's back. Loomis realizes that Michael's back. She rushes back to her house where basically the penultimate final scene takes place and everything comes to a head. She has an aunt visiting, Aunt Heather, that's visiting, and Michael's in her house before she gets there. He kills the Aunt Heather by putting her arm in a dish disposal and a garbage disposal, which pretty cool death scene, probably. You don't see the death on screen, but he kills Laurie's husband, who is apparently, very supportive, good guy. He kills her by pinning him to the door, a la Bob in Halloween. They just find his dead corpse against the wall, pinned. And then there's apparently a big, huge chase scene between Michael and Laurie's daughter.
Stephanie.
Yeah. Which is all of this is very, very much the Halloween 4 they went with, right? I mean, with the chasing of her kid and all that.
Well, yeah, and I think this is also a good motivation for Michael. He's like, look, I was burned up, bitch. 3rd degree, 4th degree burns. They dropped me in Lake Michigan, and then I find out you forget all about me, and you're a successful photographer for a really successful company in Chicago. Fuck this shit. You gonna learn today. You don't turn your back on family, dog.
And by the way, dude, you have to imagine there's a badass 80s soundtrack going through this whole hustle and bustle of Chicago City.
Yeah, like the height of the MTV days. So that would be what I'd be most excited about. The soundtrack would probably be insanely good.
Yeah, and apparently the guy he kills, the rock musician he kills, they show his music video playing, and the song's called like Maniac or whatever. And then when Michael takes the Porsche out, you notice on the license plate it says like Maniac 1.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Like it seems so cool, but at the same time, there's so many eye roll moments too. You're like, full.
It all depends on how they did it. I'm
thinking
it Jason Lives.
Good, but it's like, yeah, but I don't know if it works for Michael. Like it works for Jason, but it's almost like, does this work? Because you're having fun with it, but then you also realize, oh shit, this is Michael fucking Myers, man. Oh my.
Yeah, dude, I get exactly what you're fucking saying. I love it. It's fun. I want to, just like you said earlier. Dude said earlier. Michael versus Jason. Do I want to fucking see it? Yes. Would it possibly really have hurt the franchise? Yes. But then again, we also live in a world where Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 exists. So
it's kind of like actually enjoying a Rob Zombie movie.
Yeah, at least you enjoyed it while you were watching it.
I like it, but it makes me feel so dirty.
So while this is going on, Loomis also goes to the grave of Michael Myers to exhume it, and they find the grave empty, which, as the writer points out, is very confusing because Michael dropped into a lake. And Loomis says at one point that he saw him buried, but you don't know if he's just saying that because he wants Laurie to believe that she's safe. That's all very confusing, and they could have tightened that up a little bit. But so he kills the husband. Laurie shows up, and I think this is all pretty fucking cool from here on out, man. I think it's pretty dope. Laurie shows up. She fights with Michael. She beats him with a hot poker stick in my ear. She beats him with a hot poker stick. Even lodges the hot poker stick in Michael's skull while they're fighting. She gets hers. Laurie gets hers. They end up, like, the fight spreads to the backyard next to the pool. Loomis is on his way here, and he steals a coroner's van and realizes that the brakes are fucking cut, and then smashes that shit into a electrical light post, which crashes in the back of Laurie's pool. So Laurie, in the penultimate scene, takes like a rake or some shit, attacks Michael, hits him into the pool, where the same light post has fallen inside of the pool. Now Michael's trying to climb out of the fucking pool, and he grabs an electrical wire to pull himself out to go kill Laurie. Then they pan over to like the electric company working on the wires. They're like, "Oh, here we go, fixed it." And then they switch it on. And while Michael's holding the fucking rope, Michael fucking starts going like this.
Like, "Don't touch that switch, Randy. Which one, this?" Which one, this? And then Michael cooks like a fucking egg inside the pool. What's funny is that Loomis is the one that knocks out the substation. And because he was like crazily trying to get over to Laurie's place to help her. So he inadvertently helps Michael survive. And then he gets over there. Like, you imagine what's going through. Like, what if they hadn't, like, he still got the poker in his fucking head. He's like, this bitch done poked me in the face. And she knocked me into the pool, and I got a nice leather jacket and leather pants on. You know that shit's sticking. Like, and it just, the whole thing seems cool. Like, the ending seems kind of cool. Yeah. But at the same time, it just feels such like a sketch, like a parody.
Yeah.
Like it's just kind of goofy. It's
I think the stuff before does, the 80s stuff does, but the ending I could actually see in a serious manner. Like the guy turns it on, Michael's holding it, he starts convulsing, and this is what I don't like. Michael actually explodes. He explodes.
That's where the goofiness comes in there.
And right as Loomis Loomis runs in, and they do a nice little ploy on, instead of Loomis saving Laurie, Laurie takes care of Michael herself, and Loomis shows up at the penultimate scene. Michael literally explodes, which I hate. Don't like that at all. Would have changed that in a heartbeat. You never kill Michael Myers. That's all she wrote. That's the end of the film. The film ends with panning on Michael Myers' new grave with a new date on it, and what it says is it ends with on his tombstone there's a quote by Edgar Allan Poe that says, for in that sleep of death what dreams may come.
Yeah, I've seen that movie. It's a great movie.
Every Nightmare on Elm Street.
It's like, I don't know, dude. It reminds me of some Ernest Goes to Jail shit. It's like, I came, I saw, I got blown up. Like here's the thing. Like, I don't understand some of these writers. And granted, these guys weren't professional writers. Neither one of them were. One guy was a lead singer for a medium-sized band in LA, and he had a good friend that they wrote the script together, and they weren't part of a writer's guild. So I get that. But I don't understand the motivation for a lot of writers, like why they want to make it where Michael can't come back. Like, I don't get that in a lot of ways. He's like, you're going to blow him the fuck up? Like, why? Like, I don't get it.
He did mention, by the way, when interviewed in the book, that he didn't know. He was like, I just assumed that we were writing the last one. So to their credit, he was like, I assumed we were supposed to write the last one, which obviously was not the case.
Well, also, he did mention in that interview how, I could see it too, Mustafa Cod got pissed off that he was writing like camera shots. He's like, you don't do that in my house here. Because his good friend or whatever, he would take it to him. He's like, yeah, Mustafa doesn't like that, because the dude was just trying to, like, he said himself as a director, and would see these shots in his head, and he would write in the script like POV of this, or the camera would shift here, and Mustafa's like, you don't tell me how to shift my film, okay? You come in, you write, you get the fuck out. I give you money, okay? Yeah, man, I think that I hate that. Like, I think that they had it felt like a very action-packed, like very fast-paced Halloween movie, which is probably not what any of us would be used to at all. So it's going to be totally different.
Yeah.
It's also taking place in Chicago, so well removed from Haddonfield, and it's the MTV movie generation. The ending is where I'm like, you kind of lost the wind in your sails right there, because it's like you're trying to get it out as quick as you can. The costume design for him, don't like that. Like The Office, like, don't like that.
I think it's all fixable though, and I think that's why this is my favorite unmade Halloween script of all time, because I think it's all very fixable. But you might think that that's the end of the story, but it's definitely not the end of the story, because what happened after this was they found out Jamie Lee Curtis would not come back to do the film. They weren't going to be able to use Jamie Lee Curtis. So in an effort to save the script that they wrote, they went back and they rewrote the script, and they took Jamie Lee Curtis, they took Laurie Strode out of the script. And I actually think this makes it better. I think you'll probably agree with me on this, but I think this makes the script better, dude, because instead they had to do something with all Laurie Strode's dialogue, with her whole story, the PTSD, and all that stuff. And what they did was they gave all those lines to Loomis. They made Loomis the main character, and they made the Aunt Heather a bigger character in the film. And basically what you got, and the guy who wrote it says this in the interview. He's like, they used, and he was cool with it. He seems like a totally rad fucking dude, by the way. He said, I went and saw the movie, and I could see that they used a lot of the stuff that I wrote. The power going out, a lot of the stuff going on. I could see that they had several writers working on the film at one time, and they used the best of each one, and then gave the writing credit to the final guy who wrote it. But he's like, we got paid. I don't care, man. I think it's awesome. Which, cool on that dude. Fucking seems like an awesome dude. But do you have the Loomis explanation here? In his version, when they switched it to Loomis, very, very cool. They did sort of explain Michael Myers' supernatural-ish abilities, and they did it through Loomis. And Loomis has it. It's on 73.
Fuck, I'm sorry. My dog ate all my homework. I'm not really prepared. It's at the. Okay, yeah, I got it. Okay,
I got it. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. I kind of want to do it in the Malcolm McDowell, but I'm not going to do that. She is Michael Myers' sole surviving blood relative.
I can't help but fear that one day he may return to fulfill an ancient prophecy. I know what I'm suggesting cannot be explained in scientific terms. According to ancient mythology, the medieval druids separated their year into 2 equal segments. The first, from May 1st, was presided over by the Lord of the Sun. The second, from November 1st, was presided over by the Lord of the Dead, Samhain. During this transformation of seasons, there's a time when the natural world and the world beyond are one. This provides an opportunity for the spirits of the dead to come dance on the hill with the other demon fairies, and a time when the Lord of the Dead can interfere with the lives of men. Violently. Don't you laugh. October 31st is the festival of Samhain. As with all great legends, they sometimes contain truths. And that truth may live in the soul of Michael Myers. Yeah, that's what he said. I'd be like, if I were listening to that shit, I'd be like, so what you're saying is basically we shouldn't have Halloween this year. And this guy is somehow the Lord of Sammy Hagar. I was like, no, I said Samhain. Like, you'll fill your Hanes underwear with poop when he comes around.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to go for the Malcolm McDowell, but I guess it did come through. If I had actually been going, it would have sounded like it. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting stuff. They were trying to bring in some cool supernatural druidic shit in it. So
yeah, and again, like, it seems like this guy's right. It seems like they really did use part of his script at the end of the day, with some of the ideas he came up with and whatever. But you know, we pretty much said it. Like, it's pretty cool. Like, I like a lot of it. I don't know if I'd have the balls to really greenlight it with all the 80s stuff, even though, like, I'm torn, dude. Like, if I was, like, I want to see Michael do that. Like, that would be such a fucking crazy 80s-ish wild fucking Halloween movie, and I think we would be so entertained by it that I would have a hard time saying no to it, because I'd like to see that happen. But I just like, again, what we said earlier, Michael versus Jason, I want to see it, but it shouldn't be part of canon because it could fuck everything up. Same thing with this movie, but then again, they did some dumb shit in Halloween 5 too, so I really don't know.
Yeah, you know, I liked it for what it was. It wasn't a like, you know what? As a fan film, I think it would work. I think it would be a really interesting fan film. I wouldn't mind it at all. Or even a one shot or a one off that had nothing. Like, if it was on an HBO or something like that, it was like an alternative reality. Yeah, I'd go with it. I don't know if I want that part of my canon. Yeah. Like, if that had been the part of the canon, I mean, it's really hard. Like, they even ask him, like, it's really hard to come back when you explode the fucking guy. Like, I mean, then you're pretty much painting them in a corner, like, all right, well, good luck on Halloween 5.
Here's the thing about that, though. Here's the thing about that changes my mind, though. When they found out Laurie wasn't coming back, they changed some things, including giving Loomis Laurie's dialogue. I love the idea about focusing on Loomis. I think that's fucking genius. I think we really should have done that when we had the chance. You know what I mean? Yeah. We really had something special there. We should have focused on Loomis when we had the chance. And then you don't get just another Laurie storyline. But also, they changed the ending of the film. In the ending of this film, with Loomis as the focus, Michael doesn't explode. He just keels over. And then when the police get there, he's gone. So they basically fixed my biggest issue with it. And they made it better by focusing it on Loomis instead of Laurie, in my opinion. So
no, I think that, I mean, Donald Pleasance, arguably, besides Jamie Lee Curtis, is the best thing to come out of Halloween. 100%. I mean, that's just the truth. I mean, that's facts.
I put him above Jamie Lee Curtis. I put him above Jamie Lee Curtis, to be honest with you.
And look, if the more lines you can give to Dr. Loomis, or to especially the way that Donald Pleasance was able to play that character, it just brings such a weight and realness to that movie, or to the actual legend of Michael Myers. Like, you should do it. Like, but the ending, what scares me is, like, the ending was only changed because Jamie Lee Curtis said, "Fuck that, I'm not doing it anymore."
Right.
If she had moved forward, that would have been the ending. They would have stuck with it most likely. And that's what scares me, is the fact that almost happened. And again, it's not a bad fan film. It's really not. But the fact that he's dressed in leather pants and a leather jacket, he's driving around a badass Porsche. It's got tinted windows. It's almost, it's fun, but it's almost like dorky at the same time. And I don't feel like compared to what we got with Halloween 4 is the one that brought Michael back. Like it really was the one that solidified Michael as a badass serial killer that you should be afraid of and put him back on the road to redemption. This movie might have damaged his character. Not as bad as what, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 did or anything like that, or Halloween 5 or 8. But I'm saying that it might have put him in a little bit more of a, he's kind of the storyline's kind of geeky and stupid, and it would put him too much inside the same follow that. And I'm not saying anything wrong with it, but Jason Voorhees, and like you get what you get when you go see a Jason Voorhees movie, and it's fun, right? It's fun. You want to see them bitches like being killed by the sleeping bags against the tree. It's fun, but that's what he is. Like you don't want to see Michael Myers in the same pool.
Right. I think you're absolutely right, dude. I think you're absolutely spot on with the Jason reference. Like I think you're right, dude. The only thing I would say is, let me ask you this: take this script, take out the flipping of the keys. I say keep the Porsche thing because I think that's pretty cool. Just take out the overtly 80s comedic little spot that they had there, and keep the Loomis version of the script where he's the focal point, and never have him change clothes. Take those parts out. Very easy things to take out of the script, by the way. Super fucking easy to take out. Take those things out, and I ask you now, gun to your head, do you make this script instead of the version of Halloween 4 we got? Because you got to remember, Halloween 4, as much as we love it for the Halloween atmosphere and all that stuff like that, Michael did not look good. He had those terrible fucking shoulder pads on. He was gangly and like dumb as fuck and just like falls off trucks and shit like that. There was really bad stuff in Halloween 4 as much as I like it. So I ask you this, if you take out the 80s comedic over the top keys flipping different clothes aspect of it, and you have Loomis as the focal character of the movie, would you bet on switching this with the Halloween 4 we got?
I gotta say no.
Really?
Because we don't even know what the mask would look like in accordance with this script. If they're already gonna go, I mean, I know you said you take out the leather pants and leather jacket, but if they're gonna go that far, you don't know if they're gonna make up some he might look like Paul Stanley from Kiss. Like sure. Might have some like fucking lipstick and shit.
But okay, let's say same mask from Halloween 4. Same mask.
You know what? Because Loomis had a decent part in Halloween 4. I think it was balanced pretty well. I mean, it wasn't as much, as many lines that I think he should have got, but he had a pretty balanced, idea, or participation in the film. I just feel like this movie, while it's fun and it's really exciting and it's different than what I've ever seen. Yeah, I feel like a fan film is the universe that it fits in rather than an actual canonical film.
Well, I mean, fan films didn't exist then, though. You know what I mean?
No, I know that, but I mean, it almost feels like I know that, but it almost feels like fans, like a fan film, like they were writing it. I mean, they weren't a part of the guild, the Screenwriters Guild or anything, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, like, it just feels too much. They were pulling on what the essence of the time was, rock and roll. They had seen Nightmare 4, I'm sure. They had seen Friday the 13th.
Well, and to be fair, this wasn't a studio guy writing it going, I want this to look like Nightmare or Friday. This was a rock star writing it and wanting it to like.
Well, I mean, I know, but he was in the scene, but at the same time, those movies were huge.
Right.
Like Nightmare 4 had Dokken, and Alice Cooper was doing Friday the 13th.
Yeah. So, well, let me ask you this then. Of all the Halloween 4 scripts we've heard, the one where he was using psychic powers, the last one we did, and the Dennis Etchison one where he grows to 12 feet tall and has regenerative capabilities.
So good. I love that Power Ranger episode.
Is this your favorite of those three?
Yeah, I would take that. I would take this in a heartbeat over those.
I think
the 80s background is what sells it for me.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, man. I think this is the best Halloween 4 script that I've seen out of all of them. And there's more in the book, by the way. Actually, definitely, guys, check out you can get it on Amazon, Taking Shape 2. Check it out. You're going to fucking love it. It's an amazing book. I want to make sure we're getting this content from them, so I want to shout them out as much as possible. Awesome dudes.
Now, if you were to tell me replace that script in fucking Halloween Resurrection, give it to me 100%. Fuck on this a one time.
Give it to me. I want this.
Anything to remove that movie from history, but yeah man, like while it's a fun read, it really is a fun read. And again, we can't really say much because it was like, the author mentions it as well. It was a one treatment deal. They didn't get to really expand on it. Right. And it might have changed a lot. It might have got better. It might have been fleshed out more. Who knows? But I don't know, man. Like it compared to what we got with Halloween 4, like the actual movie that was made, I gotta stick to my guns and say Halloween 4 is still the better movie.
And I don't necessarily. I'd have to really put some thought into that. I want, like, I'm high on this script right now. I really want to see that and where it would have taken the rest of the franchise. Because you would have never got Jamie with Danielle Harris. You would have got the little girl, but still would have gone a different way for sure if this had happened. But
you wouldn't have had. You have a police force.
Yeah, exactly. And Halloween 4 was one of our favorite Halloweens. So, but let's go to the chat, see what you guys think before we go to break here. Ringy542 says, I honestly think we are overdue a Hellraiser remake. Who would you have write and direct if it was to happen? It's actually happening.
Clive Barker. You're right though. Overdue, 100%. Love Hellraiser. Love Pinhead. Such an underused character. As far as like in the echelons of great slashers out there. But Clive Barker, I mean, obviously, if you're going to say who's going to write it, I mean, fucking Clive Barker, he's already interested in doing it.
Yeah.
So, as far as directing it, though, look, I know that Clive Barker probably wants a crack at it, but I'd probably get somebody in there that knows what the fuck they're doing, like a little bit better than Clive. I mean, I'm not saying anything is bad about Clive Barker, but I mean, give me some like, honestly, it'd be your director, dude. I would actually David Fincher try to do a Hellraiser movie.
That would be great, man. I would love to see that. I think you do either or. And with the TV, they're doing not only a movie, but they're also doing a TV series. And David Gordon Green of Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, is actually directing that with Clive Barker's blessing. So they are doing a bunch of shit with that. It's going to be exciting.
It's really good stuff, man.
Blake Corley, thanks, buddy, says, I love you guys. Can I get words of encouragement from Dr. Loomis?
What's his name?
Blake.
Blake what?
Corley.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know what you need me to encourage you. I mean, Blake Corleone, how you doing? I hope that 2021 treats you well. 2020 sucked big old donkey balls. I don't know what you will be to look. Make sure that when you get out of bed every morning, you splash some cold water on your face and say, "I'm gonna fuck the day. I'm gonna fuck it. I'm gonna impregnate it, and I'm gonna make it mine." And that's what you do every day that you're alive. You wake up, you say, I'm going to fuck the day. I'm going to impregnate it. I'm going to make it mine and not pay child support. That's my day.
I want to say that to myself tomorrow when I wake up. I'm going to fuck the day. I'm going to fuck it.
That's so stupid. But I hope it was good, man. I'm sorry.
Dragon Beast, thanks so much, buddy. Really appreciate that. He says, love you guys, but can we get a what are you waiting for, huh? From Loomis and Chalice. Oh, okay. Is that the that's a night know what you did last summer, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'll go first since you just did I'll do Chalice, then you could do Loomis. I'm gonna take off my headphones for a second so I can spin around here. What are you waiting for? I'm a doctor. What are you waiting for? Turn it off. I'm being shamed by the eyes of my wife in the corner.
Yeah, I think if Loomis was going to do it, it'd be like, I don't think it's like,
what are you waiting for? You got the ball to drop? What are you waiting for? You in just the kicking? Come on, you pansy fuck. What are you waiting for?
Oh, man, that's good. Let's see here. This chat, we got behind on the Scheme Queen. Oh, no, it's Squeam Queen. Thank you very much. Says Tom Ungurian and I want a limited series on Season of the Witch / Silver Shamrock Origins. Meh? Yes? I say yes. I say fucking take the Silver Shamrock thing, birth it out of Halloween, never have it include Michael Myers, and do your own thing with it. Because some people want Halloween to go anthology, and I'm like, why the fuck would you take Halloween and make an anthology? Then you're taking Michael Myers out of Halloween. Michael Myers is fucking Halloween. So take Silver Shamrock, name it that, do your anthology with that. I think it's great.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Halloween 3. I think it's like, actually the author of that script even mentioned, he's like, it's kind of cute, but it's kind of stupid too, because that has nothing to do with Michael Myers. And he was just like, he got mad. Like, he didn't really get mad, but in the interview that he was doing, he was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if Silver Shamrock, like doing stories without Michael Myers and recalling it Halloween or John Carpenter's Halloween would really do that well today. It might have had a chance back then. I mean, yes, Halloween 3 did come out at a time that it was misunderstood and not appreciated. But at the same time, I don't know if it does well today. Because if you're going to have, there's talk of Robert Englund coming back as Freddy in some capacity, maybe as, doing a Nightmare on Elm Street series on HBO. Then the Friday the 13th thing might be revised. Revived, I'm sorry. I really don't think that's going to go over well with Halloween fans if you do that.
Yeah. I see your side of it too. I just think as long as it's not keeping them from making Halloween movies, I'm fine with it. But I want my fucking Michael Myers. I don't like this. Some people's idea, like take Halloween and make an anthology. It's VHS. It's all any other anthology then.
What I like is the fact that if you could take characters that were secondary characters or characters that nobody really cared about in the Halloween series and tell stories from their point of view in regards to Michael Myers, I think that would be a pretty cool thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. And
in the universe,
and I'd love that Carpenter sheen over the top of it. Some synth music, some of that shit. That'd all be good. Marco Villator, thanks so much, buddy. He says we still need to know who's going to play Pinhead, and that's great. That's a great point. That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I think that'd be like an entire video. Like you could pick out so many good people to play him.
Hey man, we did that.
Well, we should do another one.
We dreamcasted Pinhead once.
Well, I know, but we should do an updated one. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know why I like Adrian Brody. I want that motherfucker to play almost anything. Adrian Brody as the Joker would have been good. Adrian Brody as Pinhead, I could buy it. I could buy that shit. I don't know.
Yeah. That's what she said too. She said, this would be standalone, completely separate from Michael Myers. That I'm 100% on board with for sure. And yeah, I think a lot of people, surprisingly, this might not be appreciated, but I think a lot of people could actually play Pinhead. I think there's a lot of actors out there that are good stage actors types. The guy who did it in Judgment was, honest to God, pretty serviceable. I didn't hate him.
I kind of get your point, but at the same time, I mean, I think that Pinhead brings such a gravitas. You got to get a guy with a voice that's commanding. He's got presence, and he's got, because the thing about if you're really good at playing Hamlet on Broadway, and you might be able to deliver certain lines in a way like that. I don't know, but I it's got to be someone that the presence, what Doug Bradley he brought a presence about him, the way he moved his body and the way that he spoke. It's got to be measured words. But yeah, you're right. The guy in the guy that replaced him, I thought he did a great job, but the thing about him though is you could tell that he was almost mimicking Doug Bradley in a lot of ways, and he wasn't doing his own thing.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, audience. When I say that almost anybody could do that, I don't mean anybody could play. It's got to be a great actor. I'm just saying, when we did our dream casting for Pinhead, there were so many guys that I would have sucked off. That would have been really good Pinheads. Michael Fassbender, you said Adrian Brody. I think.
Oh man, Michael Fassbender would be really good.
Lee Pace. There's a lot of guys that just have that thing. There's a lot of people big actors who would be really, really good for the role.
Yeah, I think it's a very it's got to be a guy that you believe. You look at, and when he talks, you believe that shit. When he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna rip your eyelids off and show you the horrors of your life," but at the same time tickle your nutsack. You're like, I believe that. He's gonna do that weird shit.
It's gotta be a certain kind of actor. I'm just saying that I could think of 10, 20 people who would be really good at it. And these are big actors who are really fucking talented. You can't just pull a guy off the street. I saw somebody said Vin Diesel is Pinhead then.
Yeah, I saw someone say The Rock is Pinhead.
That's not what I'm saying. It's gotta be a certain kind of actor, but that certain kind of actor exists. I think there's quite a few people who would be really, really good Pinheads out there.
I really like the Michael Fassbender one. The Adrian Brody one is up there. Honestly, I guess for other people, Pinhead is such an important character. You got to go through the casting process almost the way that you cast James Bond. It's got to be the right guy. It's got to be the guy that can carry the torch. Because Doug Bradley, honestly, without other than that abomination they did in the that someone shot on the potato phone. Remember in part 9 or whatever?
Judgment, or not Judgment, but Revelations.
Oh, fucking God damn. Yeah, other than that, the other guy did, honestly, but I'll tell you what, the guy that did the latest installment, if they had said that guy's going to be the next Pinhead in an actual big budget movie, I'd be like, you know what, that's all right.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate it.
But I feel like the only direction I would have given that guy is while you can emulate a little bit of Doug Bradley, at the same time, try to bring your own panache to it.
Fuck, dude. Stephanie just laid the hammer down. Michael Shannon. Oh, my God. Michael Shannon,
but he's too. His face is kind of ugly and he's kind of recognizable. Even with the makeup on, it might be a problem. Like, you would know that that's Michael Shannon. Like, that's goddamn. I will fight him.
Richie,
if you got angry, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's Michael Shannon.
Richie Work just confirmed what I've been saying for fucking ever. And I love you, Richie. I'm not trying to shit on you here, but I swear to God, you could be like, hey man, who should play Denzel Washington in the biopic about Denzel Washington? Somebody be like, I think Tom Hardy, man. Tom Hardy's got to be the guy. For some reason, whenever there's a fucking discussion about somebody playing something, everybody's like, it's got to be Tom Hardy. And I'm always like, why the fuck does everybody think Tom Hardy can play everything? He's a fine actor. I like the guy, but he's no goddamn James Bond at all.
I'd be all right with him being James. Tom Hardy is just one of those dudes that he's the Hansel's so hot right now. He's a really hot actor in Hollywood. Everybody wants him for their movie. I get it, but the thing about Tom Hardy is also like a micro machine. He's very small. He's very stout and very big, but he's very small.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of traps. That motherfucker goes for days. He traps all sorts of good things in there. A lot of vagina. But the thing about him is he's just too small. And to play that role, it wouldn't be. First off, I have no doubt that Tom Hardy would be like, fuck that.
You imagine Tom Hardy coming out of the corner of hell like, was you in the cold?
Yeah, the motherfucker looked like he wants to steal your lunch money rather than take you to hell.
Oh, and my camera just went black, so I gotta switch the battery, which gives us perfect time here to take our last break of the night. And when we come back, we will do Cobra Kai season 3 spoilers.
All right.
Be right back.
We'll be back, guys.
We're welcomed here with Dr. Loomis, who's the disavowed psychiatrist from Smith Grove. Doctor...
Disavowed?
Doctor...
I know that.
There are many accusations that have been laid against you since the documentary came out, The Blackest Heart, Surviving Dr. Loomis. The accusations...
I didn't read that book.
Did you ever strike Michael Myers?
Goddamn no!
Yes, Michael! Fucking die, Michael! You piece of shit! Michael, die! Oh shit, don't you dare get up! Michael! Oh shit, my heart!
Goddamn yes.
Doctor, there's video evidence of you.
Yes! When he was older! When he tried to kill Laurie and tried to kill Jamie, I whooped his ass!
There's also evidence of you...
What are you talking about?
Just hitting him for no reason.
Why is it not working? Oh my god, I installed this door myself! Bob Vito's a liar! Push it real good! Push it more! What the hell was that? It's not fucking doing anything! Mike!
And
there's no video evidence of that. No, there's not.
I'd like to show you something.
I'd like to not see it because it's fake. Disgusting behavior from Michael Myers! Michael! Take it! Michael! Die! Michael!
But there are many who call you an abuser with a license.
Well, I call many of them assholes with mouths. With megaphones that talk too much. You know what I would say? Get a job, hippie! Get a job!
So let's talk about
you bowl-cut bitch!
An innocent child who...
Are you talking about... Which child?
Jamie Lloyd.
Jamie, okay, yes. The one that was protecting the mass murderer that you just mentioned.
Well, there's video evidence of you screaming in her face.
I did. Yep.
Screaming at her to write it.
Write it down, Cookie Woman! I said that because she was... I don't know, I'm just scared. Write it down, people are dying! Alright, listen. I know that you need to take a gentle hand with the child, follow them in the flowers. We didn't have time for that! Okay? I'm tired of you questioning what I did. What would you have done? Okay? Michael was out there like a butcher in the meat market, ready to slice up another slab of meat. I had Jamie, a link to him. She was not being cooperative. She was protecting him. I said, guess what I'll do? I'll scream in your face. First time in her life she got to say, oh my God, somebody's giving me discipline.
She didn't say anything. She was mute.
I don't care.
From all the
she was saying it in her eyes.
The emotional pain inflicted on her by, some would say, you.
Well, some would say that's bullshit.
Did you take the child and hold her as bait for Michael in an abandoned home?
I did what I had to do to get Michael to come to that house. Jamie was there. Michael was seeking her. I used her as, if you want to call it bait, I call it opportunity. It's not called bait. I wasn't fishing. Or was I? For a serial killer. A killer that had murdered more people than goddamn Fortnite video games.
Doctor, did you ever strike your patients?
No, they strike me.
Doctor, there's physical video evidence of you physically harming your patients while in your care.
I'd like to see that evidence, because from what I'm understanding right now, I smell bullshit. No, Michael, I don't want it. Put it in there. Look like One-Eyed Willie. One-Eyed Willie coming back at you. Here, Michael, help me help you. Didn't help. Anyway, people are here lying on me. They're lying. Former employees that I kicked out the fucking door because they weren't doing their job. I'm out of this bullshit. All right? I'm fighting for my life. Michael's coming out left, right, up, and down. It's like a goddamn Wonder Ways. Wait, Mace, you got me all fucked up. Every day I deal with Michael Myers. Every day. You know what I deal with? I deal with Michael staring at me with that stupid fucking face. You're killing me with this shit. You're killing me with this shit. What the fuck? Who put this together? Is that camera on me? Is this camera on me?
Yes, it is, Doctor. It's on you.
Good. Listen to me.
This is what people are talking about.
All I want to say is that they don't really care about us. I'm just tired of this shit, you know? Like, I try my best. I do everything I can for everybody to keep the evil locked up, the rage contained. But what do I get? Questions. Did you hurt Jimmy? Fuck you. Go take care of your own goddamn kids. You come to me with this bullshit? Goddamn, let me take this Agent D. I'm getting a little thirsty. Thirsty for justice.
It's all right. Here, have some of your Agent D there. Have some of your Agent D
Thank you so much.
Hey, we're gonna calm down. We're gonna calm down right now.
No, we're not.
Yeah, have some mixed nuts.
Don't call me Big Daddy.
Have some mixed nuts. Have some mixed nuts. Come on.
Yo, Brett.
It's okay. Hey,
God damn.
you know what? Things are getting out of hand.
Smell like goddamn a gin factory that failed in Chernobyl.
Listen, things are getting a little out of hand here.
Yeah, they are.
All right? The big fella's just trying to tell you, people, this man's a goddamn doctor. All right? He's a goddamn doctor, and this is some bush-like shit. This is some bush-like shit.
It's like I'm being attacked in Vietnam.
Now you got me upset, all right?
With guerrilla warfare.
I don't even want these fucking mixed nuts, okay?
Because they taste like shit. Either way, I'm gonna tell you one more goddamn time. If you can do a better job containing Michael Myers, then do it. You goddamn sissy fucks.
This guy.
Might as well wear tutus around here.
This guy, I want to see his papers. Oh, that's right, I'm a goddamn doctor. I'm a goddamn doctor. I want to see your fucking papers. All right?
Papers.
All right? That was a stupid question, Miss Crumpridge. I don't give a shit if you're a guy.
You
all
dirty
right?
bitch.
You be called. We're gonna go see a baseball game.
I don't even like baseball.
They've got peanuts.
They've got
peanuts. A lot of young girls.
What about goddamn beer?
A lot of young girls. That receptionist out there. This is bush league shit. You all should be ashamed of yourselves. That young lady out there, that receptionist.
If you look at me again,
okay,
with your cross-eyed.
No, not her.
I
like the cross-eyed one. Listen.
No.
We're gonna get a hot dog. We're gonna go to the Braves game on Monday. All right?
I'm gonna say this one more time.
This man hasn't seen his kids in 6 years. He doesn't have kids. I haven't seen my kids in 6 goddamn years. All right? Now, some of that's my own choice. Some of that's my own personal choice. I don't give a fuck. Linda?
Fuck this interview. Fuck everything else. And fuck this bullshit set. It looks like a goddamn set from Bill Waltridge. Walters? What the fuck was that show? It was something. I don't know. I don't watch TV.
Yeah.
Fuck this.
Yeah, calm down, big guy. Calm down. We're gonna have a shot. We're gonna have some secrets. You guys, anybody, you guys got any secrets?
Where's the fuck the bathroom?
Where's the bathroom?
Where is it?
You guys got a bathroom?
Michael out?
No.
Chalice!
I'm gonna go.
Chalice! Pass. Let it roll.
We watched a movie. Yeah. We did a review. We watched a movie. We watched a movie.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey, honey.
I missed you a lot.
I missed you too.
Hi. How you doing, baby?
Good. I'm really good.
Never say die, Cobra Kai.
All right, guys, final hour of the show, and in this hour, we are talking Cobra Kai Season 3 spoilers. We already had our Cobra Kai Season 3 non-spoiler review, so if you haven't seen it, go ahead and click off now. We don't want to ruin anything for you, and you can check out the review that we did for it instead, but fuck, this was awesome, dude.
Oh, man. Yeah, dude, like we already talked about how it continued the vibe and the sexiness from the first 2 seasons. And this is TV done right, ladies and gentlemen. TV done right. Yeah, it's on Netflix, but whatever. That's a little tiny thing. Okay, don't argue semantics with me. That's fucking done right. And I love the way that they're developing it. I love all of the backstory. I love the fleshed out characters, and the more we're getting to know them and why they are why they are. Especially this one. This season really focused on Kreese a lot. Well, not as much as but the Kreese like backstory about the Vietnam stuff was fucking good. Like I was like, it like again throwing a wrinkle in. You think Kreese is a bastard that if you loan him $50, he'll never pay you back, and I know people like that, but closer than I should say. But yeah, but it throws a wrinkle into him. Like, oh man, I get it. He's a war vet and he's seen some shit, Zed. Like again.
Hey, I jumped the gun a little bit. I got 2 super chats. Got to get to right before we get into the Cobra Kai stuff. Dragon Beast, thank you so much, man. It says HBO Max series can be great, but I feel Pinhead would only be in a couple of episodes, or Pinhead before Pinhead. That is one thing too. Like if you're gonna do a whole series, I don't know like how much Pinhead's gonna be in it. I would like for him to be the main focal point though.
The thing about you know what I thought about this, and I'm not saying it would work at all, but what if, because listen, Pinhead's been around for a little while. I mean, he's been around technically since the World War I days, I think. I would love almost like he was a crypt keeper, and that he would tell a new story about a damn soul, like a soul that's damned, like the crypt keeper. You know
I
what I'm
like
saying?
that, dude.
So he would introduce the show, right? And he would and now another tale from the Leviathan.
I like that.
Do it something like that, yeah. And then because I'll tell you what, man, one of the most underrated Hellraiser movies, and Mike and I love it, is Inferno.
Yep.
Hellraiser Inferno is such a really underrated classic movie, and you know what? It has Pinhead in it and the Cenobites, but it's more focused on the singular character, right?
Yeah.
The detective and his downfall and his eventual winding up in hell. I think those stories are really what it's all about. Like those, because it's about these souls that make the wrong decisions and they walk the path of the damned.
Dude, I think you fucking nailed it with that idea. I think that's a fucking great idea. I love that. Also, Marco of Evil Tor, thanks, buddy, says, what about the guy who played Magneto from the old X-Men movies as Pinhead? Sir
Gandalf the Grey.
McKinney. William. Fuck.
Walter McKinney.
I can't think of his name. But we know what you're talking about, though.
Yeah. We're so stupid. Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I'd be into that. I'd be fucking stoked on that. I really would be. Okay, so and thank you, man. Thank you guys for the super chats. Really appreciate those guys. But yeah, dude, the fucking season was great. I actually didn't like the Kreese stuff that much, though. Like as much as you were just saying that you liked it a lot. I didn't love it because they, by the way, the new Tommy Doyle is in this. The dude from fucking Weird Science. Yeah. And now he's got like this big badass persona. But the guy who's playing the new Tommy Doyle. But I don't know, man. Like I was so into what they were doing with Cobra Kai that whenever they bounced back to the Kreese stuff in the army, I didn't hate it, but it did take me out of the stuff I was really invested in, you know?
Well, I think I liked it because, again, like he was honestly, Kreese had a lot in common with Daniel LaRusso and William and Johnny in a lot of ways. That he was bullied, he was kind of made fun of. You know, he was kind of a joker, not in a good way, but like a guy that like easy to pick on. And then he goes to Vietnam, and Vietnam changed him in a lot of ways, especially his asshole sensei.
Yeah.
And you know, and made him into the prick that he is today. Because I mean, look what he had to do to survive.
Oh, hey, sorry, that's not Anthony Michael Hall. I fucked up. It looks just fucking like him though, doesn't it? I really thought that was Anthony Michael Hall.
I wasn't gonna say anything. I wasn't sure, but I'm sure somebody was gonna correct you, so I didn't know.
Fuck.
I didn't know.
I had no
He
idea.
looked like it. Yeah, he does look like him though. But yeah, like I didn't mind it though, because again, when I talk about fleshing out the characters and throwing another wrinkle in, like creating another gray zone, it does that really well. Like, because you're like, oh well, you know, he's a big bitch. Kreese is a big bitch. He's an asshole.
Yeah.
But there's a reason behind that. You know, there's a reason why he's like that. And you know, and in some ways, you're like, is it coming from a good place for him to continuously seek out Johnny and try to get Johnny back into the fold? Like, maybe he really sees himself in Johnny and is like, man, I'm just trying to protect you. I know I come off as a hard ass, but let me tell you something. One day I'll buy you that N64 that you want for Christmas.
Dude, like, maybe and it could be the best thing that the show does, because it's kind of the theme of the whole show, right? Is like there's two sides to every story. Yeah. So like, even though Kreese is a fucking disgusting human being, I'm like, dude, like people's lives are getting ruined, kids are getting their backs broken, this is obviously an awful, awful situation, and you're a piece of shit for instigating it, and he really does fucking instigate it. But it's probably the best thing that this show does as a whole, man. Like when they tell Kreese's story, every character, every single, from Tori. Even though Tori's a super fucking bitch, and she was gonna kill her with that thing. Every character there's two sides literally to every story. Even the worst bad guy you can imagine has a reason why they're that way. And that this show, I think, probably underratedly does a good job of showing that for every single character. And that's what the show's based off of, right? Because you thought Johnny was the bad guy, but now he's the good guy. That whole dichotomy.
Well, Bernie. Hey Bernie, how you doing, man? Bernie Gambano says actually he's telling you right. He's like, the best part, the dynamic was the Johnny Miguel story. I love that. The Miguel Johnny story has also been the backbone since season 1. In my opinion, I think it's been the backbone of the entire series, and I loved it, man. Who would have thought that Dee Snider can make you walk again with his music? Not me, not this guy, but he does. God damn it, he fucking does. I loved that whole thing. You know what it reminded me of, dude? It reminded me of like Kickboxer or something. Like, you know, the wise old sage, but, you know, introducing different techniques to make sure that Jean-Claude Van Damme's listen, you're going to get your nuts split before you can actually take on Tong Po.
Yeah.
You're going to have to go through hell, and I'm going to get you there, but then I'm also going to make you get drunk at a bar and then sick 2 guys on you and have you dance. Like, I love it, man. Like, I got to say, Cobra Kai, the writer and the creative team behind it are doing such a phenomenal job. They really are. And they are going in defiance against a lot of what people like, the SJW bullshit, all that stuff. They're going in defiance of that. And they're bringing us back like some wholesome, awesome 90s like type of show. And I love it. And by the way, it's also showcasing a lot of badassery females in it. It's not just like guys. And you know, they're, you know, it's inclusive. It's not just one particular color or gender or anything like that. I love it, man. I think it's so good. And by the way, when you're watching it, universally, we're all having a good time. Dude, everybody's just having a good time.
Thank you. Yes, that's a fucking great way to put it, because not only does this show, like, really, honestly, like, if you wanted to look at this show from a whole different angle, which the show on its own is just, it's fucking awesome, Saved by the Bell karate fucking entertainment that's just amazing to watch, and it's inspiring, but it's also funny, and it's also interesting, and it's a soap opera, but it's also just fucking fascinating. But dude, not only does this movie kind of like slap the way the world's living in the face right now, because everybody in the world right now, with the politics and with everything, everyone's like, oh, you're this side, you're a fucking racist, you're this side, you're a fucking snowflake. The whole idea of this show is that there are two sides to every story, that everything is not exactly what it seems. And just like you just said right there, there's a scene where what's the daughter's name? Danielson's daughter tries to she tries to go back to school after the whole thing, and she's having PTSD and she can't do it, and she runs back to Miyagi-Do dojo. And then they have one of the side plot lines is this father-daughter relationship that they have, and she's like, you don't understand. She's like, it's not like it is for me. If you're a guy, you could just beat somebody's ass and you're cool. If you're a girl and you just beat somebody's ass, then you're a weirdo. And they do that in a way that nobody else seems to be able to do in 2020, 2021, where they're showing a different side of a human being without shoving it down your throat and telling you, and it doesn't feel placated. It doesn't feel like we're just trying to win over the female audience. That's a true thing. That's true. If a girl goes to beat somebody's ass, it's a completely different thing than if a guy does in school. And they managed to do that without ever seeming to take a fucking side or shitting on anybody. This show does that genius. Like, it's amazing.
Let me point out, thank you, I'll read this. Marco says, thank you, by the way, for your super chat. He says, Mike and Jay, and I was actually going to get there, but he beat me to it. The scene Daniel hears the last letter Mr. Miyagi wrote before he died, hands down, best scene they created. Man, I got to tell you what, I cried. I cried with Daniel's son. Yeah, dude. I cried with your Daniel's son. I did, man. That was so well put together, and it was really an emotional moment, and it showed just another layer of the character of Mr. Miyagi. I mean, we already knew that Mr. Miyagi through the Karate Kid movies did consider Daniel a son, but that really fleshed out. Again, I say flesh a lot. I guess I should play Pinhead. But he fleshed out like just how important Daniel was to him, and the fact that he considered him a true son, and that his daughter Samantha, thank you guys for pointing that out, was like his own granddaughter, and it brought him back, dude. Mm-hmm. And then that's also how Daniel reconnected to Mr. Miyagi. Like, dude, I thought it was so, like, unfortunately, Pat Morita didn't get to see this series because I think he would have been on board. I think they all, the cast has said he would have been on board. Yeah, it was really a moving, emotional moment, and again, it was done so well. And my dumbass, because it's 2020 and it was 2020 when we watched it. 2021, it's the 21st century. Everybody's a piece of shit now for themselves. I thought Daniel might fucking cheat on his wife or do something really nasty, with the chick from Karate Kid Part 2, and I can't remember her name, I'm sorry, but I thought that was going to happen. But really what they did was like, no, it doesn't always have to be that way, Daniel's son. It could just be a friend from the past helping you reconnect to something you need now. Which I get, fucking genius. I'm glad they went that way.
They did it twice with Daniel, dude. They not only had the girl from Japan, which so like that storyline was great. Like, it was great. I loved it. I'm not trying to shit on it, but I gotta say, the fact that he could just show up there and just like walk up to like a KFC, and the little girl that he saved just happens to be there in the middle of this gigantic country is a little fucking crazy, right? Like, I mean, I was like, come on, like, he walks up to a fucking Target and she's doing her show with her kids. I was like, that's unbelievable.
You run into people from high school all the time sometimes. It happens.
Not fucking.
Oh yeah, I went to Target. I saw fucking 3 of them.
But that was a stretch. But that's typical. That's typical movie stuff. That's fine. I don't care. But that was. Dude, they put Daniel in that situation twice. Not only did you think that maybe there was something going on with him with her, like maybe he's going to cheat on his wife, but then the whole Allie subplot happened, and you were like, when he sees Allie, you could see he was like, man, I want to stick around and party. You know what I mean? But she was like, hey, she was cool. He was cool. It's like, like they were respectful, but you could see those old flames rise up in Daniel's son several times in this series.
Yeah, I thought Daniel might be like talking to Allie with an eye and be like, hey, I took French in high school. It's like, yeah, I was like, you ever heard of Menage a Trois? But yeah, I was thinking that too. Like, he did seem, it was kind of weird, and it's kind of awkward, and it's kind of uncomfortable, but they pulled it off really well, especially when he meets Allie with an eye at the party and Johnny's there. And it's actually a role reversal, because if you'll remember in Karate Kid Part 1, it was Daniel that showed up and caught Johnny with his girl that he thought, at this elite country club. Yeah. And they even kind of point that out when Johnny's wearing the white tux, and he's like, goes, this is a white jacket, man. Don't be walking around with no pasta. Like, cause that happened to Daniel, man. I loved it. But yeah, dude, the scene with the Mr. Miyagi reconnect, it was great. And it really kind of reminds me of, and I know it's not the same thing, but it kind of is. It kind of reminds me of a Star Wars, like, just, reconnecting with an old master and hearing him from the past through the words. Yeah. And like, I would have, I'm not saying, I think it might have, not that it would have been disrespectful, but nobody can pull it off like Pat Morita. But having somebody being able to, if you'd heard the voice of Pat Morita or somebody like that reading the letter as a narrative,
yeah,
it might have been even more impactful. But dude, what a great moment.
I gotta go to the chat here on this one because people got some fucking hilarious takes on this. Let's see. Iron Wolf says, I thought Johnny was going to cheat. We all did. When Johnny takes Allie out on the date and like they're about to kiss, we all thought, fuck Johnny. Like, because you go back to season 2 where he meets this girl who's like perfect for him. And she's like, yeah, I like all this shit too. Like fucking Coors Banquet, dude. Fuck yeah. And then he's like, I got to go because Miguel's mom, his boyfriend, was doing some dumb shit. Yeah. You're thinking Johnny's definitely going to fuck this up again. And like, you're like, God, you're going to fuck it up. But he doesn't. But it was funny to see because the Sting says Allie didn't want any more of Daniel. She was all about Johnny's dick,
well,
which I think she was.
Well, thinking about Johnny is, I guess this is where we're kind of weird. I don't know. Johnny fucked her. Johnny, you fucked her. He fucked Miguel's mom, but at the same time, was he really like chained down? Not really. I mean, they weren't in like an exclusive relationship. Johnny's like former love had just shown up. I mean, in a way, and I'm not defending this action one way or the other.
We're on a break.
It's like, bro, what you doing, bro? Like, did you get the message? Get the net. But I'm just saying, like, technically speaking, Miguel's mom told him to go fuck off in the hospital and said, I don't want nothing to do with you. They wound up having like makeup sex, and that's great, and that's wonderful, and it felt good. It felt good in the vagina. But at the same time, Allie with an eye, that was his girl that he's always like sought after for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm going with that route. I'm not saying that Johnny should, get with Allie with an eye. But I mean, if he had done it, you can't say he's cheating, right? You can't really say he's cheating because he didn't technically date her.
I don't think technically he's cheating. I just think if he had done it, then you would see the subplot coming from a million miles away. He would end up caught with her by her, and you'd be like people accuse this show of being a soap opera sometimes, and it is, but I think in the best of ways. But yeah, and then says I thought Daniel's wife was going to cheat on. Someone said, where was it? Because this made me fucking laugh. Stephanie Kyle says, I think Daniel's wife would have been down too, because when they're at that table, like Daniel's wife seemed like she was into it too, and it was like, oh damn,
she was like,
if this is a different show, dude, if this was a different fucking show, you could have had like the weirdest, steamiest threesome you've ever seen in your fucking life, or maybe even foursome.
My rewind button would have broke.
I'm
just but she was kind of digging Allie with an eye, and like that doesn't happen in real life unless that
he's got a cool wife, man. He's got a cool wife.
Well, his wife is cool, or unless she's DTF with that chick, because like they were drinking a little bit, and then she got a lot more comfortable with her, and then she's like, hey, that's Elizabeth Shue, and she's kind of cute still.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna go this route, but I felt bad for Johnny sitting there. And he's like, "Man, this is fucking bullshit." Dude. like,
well, I felt bad for Daniel's son too, because like he couldn't even he wanted to make a move, but he couldn't. I mean, he's married, so he's like, he was like, I literally have to give her to you, even though I don't want to give anything to you.
I mean, I don't feel bad for him. He's got a business that's booming. He's got like a great, but I mean, I felt bad for
situation.
I felt like Johnny was like that guy. He's like, man, like, come on, man, fuck you. He's like, can you ease the fuck up? Can you ease the fuck up with your flirtatious shit? I thought Johnny was going to take it out and beat the shit out of it.
I'm like, if you're me, you'd be like, hey, man, look at me. I need this.
Yeah, he's like, let me have it one time. Like, goddamn. He's like, I broke her fucking radio in high school. You don't need to keep stepping on my nuts here. But yeah, man, it was a great scene. But there's I don't know. There's so many good moments. Like one of my favorite in this season is I love that Johnny started his own dojo. Eagle what was it? Eagle Fang. I think that's the name of the dojo that he started. It's like he's like, they don't even have fangs like this one does. I love it, and like I love that he started his own dojo. I remember when season 2 ended. A lot of theories were going around, and I was like, all right, well, what's going to happen is either Johnny's going to take back over Cobra Kai, and then it's going to be a different kind of like situation with Kreese, and then he's going to have an all Valley tournament against Daniel's group, Miyagi-Do again.
Yeah.
But I really thought in season 3, what I really thought was Mike Barnes was going to show back up, and he have his own karate dojo, like a 3-way kind of dojo, but it wound up being Johnny.
Yeah.
But it wound up being Johnny, and that, like, I had thought about that before too, but I'd also thought that they were going to join forces, and that was cool too to see Eagle Fang and Miyagi-Do join forces to take down Cobra Kai. At the end.
That was so fucking cool, man. That was amazing. And I love the fact that Johnny just walked into school. Johnny walked right up to Hawk and all them. He's like, quiet! he just he didn't give a shit. He just walked in. He's like, you want to be pussies or you want to fucking take this guy down or whatever. And one of the only things I didn't like is that final penultimate scene, which is a cool fight scene or whatever, because they show up at Danielson's house. But Hawk, out of nowhere, dude, it was just like completely fucking out of nowhere. Hawk is like, he's always been hard fucking core. And then for no reason, like on a snapshot, right? So he looks around, he sees people fighting, he goes, you know what? Fuck Cobra Kai. I'm all about Eagle Thing. I think that turn happened too quick. I think they could have done that a different way. But still yet, I love Hawk so much, and he's such a douchey character when he's a bad guy. I was really pumped to see him take Johnny's side again.
I rubbed it in April's face a little bit because she hates fucking Hawk. So we were watching it, and then when he had that hero moment, I'm like, what happened? What happened? I thought he was an asshole. I thought he was a bastard. What happened? Because I like Hawk too. I like him quite a bit. I was like, as far as like the best arc in the story, he's not the best arc, but he's one of the best arcs. Like he comes from, he has the problem with this, the lip, and then flips the script and becomes like the badass of Cobra Kai. I think it was a little fast, but I don't think he was joining Eagle Thing. I think he was just defending his friend and had done something that had been a long time coming, because he's always been, the camera would focus on him, and especially when the arm break happened this season, like he was just like, oh fuck, man, I shouldn't have done that. Like he's always like had that moment where it's like, I'm going down the wrong path and I need to get back on the right path. And I was glad to see it. It was a cool scene.
Hey, it's a good point you could be a force for good or a force for evil, and either way you could be a fucking badass, so you better choose the right way. Maxima Mac, thank you for the super chat, says chosen honking Daniel's nose when Daniel thought he was going to kill him was the best part.
That was so good, man.
Shit was funny,
that was
man.
So good. I love that. I wish they had interpose like the moment where Daniel did that to him. Right when he was doing it, they showed like a flashback of Daniel doing it to him at the end of Karate Kid Part 2.
Yeah.
It's like, live or die, man. It's like, die. And then boom. But yeah, it was so good. Man, there's so many great moments in the season. And like the fight sequence on season, I still think that season 2, the ending, the season 2 is probably the best. But there was nothing wrong with this season as far as like not being as like elevated as that last episode of season 2. My brother had just been watching, he'd been binging it, and he was texting Mike and I, and he was talking about like he was like, well, dude, I think this is kind of slow because they're all moping around and nothing's really happening, because they had such a like pedal to the metal flavor in season 1 to season 2 that you're like, oh yeah, well I thought it was gonna be like this, clickety let's get in there, let's find out what's happening. Mm-hmm. Who's got the jelly and the petroleum? But it didn't happen. They have to take time, slow down a little bit, and but there's nothing wrong with it, man. I like the backstories. I like what they're doing right now, and it was great.
I think episode 2 was definitely my favorite episode when Danielson and Johnny team up, and Johnny's still hungover. And first off, when Johnny breaks into the hospital and they're trying to he has to do the Jim Carrey liar thing where he breaks his nose just to see Miguel. And Miguel's in his own head fighting his tournament. I thought that was really touching when he was like, hey, man, I know I'm not supposed to be here, but don't give up. You can't give up. And just hearing his sensei's words turns him around. And then the whole thing where Johnny helps him get back. I love that. I love that so fucking much. But I thought it was hilarious when Johnny was in the hospital, dude, and they were like, hey, actually, we need to keep you. You got some piss in your blood. He's like, oh, don't worry about that. That happens. I got my ass kicked in a parking lot a few weeks ago. He's like, but this is bothering me. And like his whole fucking side's gone. And then there was some, like, as sad as Johnny was in the beginning of this, he had some of his best moments. Not only when he's looking for Robbie with Daniel, is he's so fucking hungover, and he like turns up the music, and Daniel's like, hey, man, we're trying to be serious. Like, turn it down. He's like, hey, man, it's not a fucking funeral. Like, just because I'm hungover doesn't mean we can't listen to some tunes. That shit was funny.
I love Johnny so much, man. I love Johnny. Like, I think one of the best parts of the season, honestly, and it was maybe a throwaway scene, but dude, I laugh at it every time I think of it, is when he takes his shit into the pawn shop again, and he has this computer, and he's like, hey, man, I want to sell this computer back to you. He's like, why would I buy something that I was used from you that's now more used? He was like, look, it just needs some juice, man. And he was like, have you tried plugging it up? He was like, what the hell, man? You told me it was wireless. I love that Johnny is so disconnected from the 21st century and just really generally the latter half of the 20th century. I love that, man. Because like I don't know, like he's so relatable in that regard. I don't know how a lot of shit works on the internet anyway, and I'm like, dude, I get that, like, because it's like, and one of the other moments when he's writing Allie with an I and he's writing a fucking novel, I've done that before on text messages. Like that's why I don't fucking do it. And Mike and my brother and stuff like, dude, are you? Because I'll send like like sometimes my text like they're like 4 pages long. It's like, why are you doing that? Because like it's like, dude, a lot has happened. I have to talk about everything, and that's what he was saying, man. It's so relatable. I love Johnny so much, man. But yeah, I love those parts too.
Wild Man Beyond says the quintessential season for sure. Allie was the cherry on top. Would agree with that. I think this was a great season. Season 2 is still my favorite of all 3, but it was great. Wild Man Beyond also says Robbie is the Anakin of this franchise, and that brings up a perfect thing that we haven't talked about yet, which is Robbie. He gets on my fucking nerves. Like, stop with the sourpuss face. I completely understand where he's coming from, but he still gets on my fucking nerves because like Johnny's trying so fucking hard, and it's just an impossible situation. And then you got all that stuff with him getting his ass kicked in juvie or wherever he is. And all that stuff.
You know, I thought that the dude that he was getting into a fight with in juvie was going to be like his best friend. I thought the jail scene was going to go for a little longer, but that guy was going to be like one of his, like that Robbie would start doing the karate thing in jail, and then the other dude would like start joining him.
What if you get to like a Avengers moment and like Robbie joins his dad and they're all getting his ass kicked, and then he's like, but wait, I brought friends, and then the fucking jail kids show up and like that big dude just goes out and starts fucking up the Cobra Kais. That'd be funny as shit.
Look, you know what? But I do agree that James Marsden. The reason why I was gonna say James Marsden. Robbie reminds me of James Marsden from Disturbing Behavior in a lot of ways. Like he looks like James Marsden for some reason. But yeah, I like he is Anakin in a lot of ways. The angry teen that nobody really pays attention to, and I'm po-folk, and I've been doing my best, but people keep on shitting in my mouth. What am I supposed to do? Oh, I'm gonna go to crease. I don't know why I sound Italiano, but he's kind of annoying in that regard. But again, he's such like an understandable character. Like Johnny is like, look, Johnny's different now, but Johnny was a piece of garbage. Like he was a piece of trash, dude. He was a drunk asshole that couldn't hold a job down, that was more concerned with what happened in the past rather than what's happening in the present.
And he wasn't there for his kid. No matter what the excuse is, you got to be there for your fucking kids.
Yeah, and he admitted that much, that he was a shitty father. So yeah, he's getting the hate that he deserves. He's trying his best, but that doesn't mean it happens overnight. Yeah. But the Robbie character, I do think that it's getting a little tiresome. It's getting a little boorish because, look, even if he's not interested in what Johnny's preaching, he has Daniel, and Daniel seems to be the force for good for him in a lot of ways, and he has tried to be there. You wouldn't, like, to me, like, he goes to Kreese, and yes, Kreese is a very good manipulator and can bend events around in such a way that you would be able to recruit him, but I just don't think that Robbie would really, I mean, honestly, I don't know, he'd be like, yeah, you're a kind of old man weirdo that's coming in on my father's behalf and trying to recruit me to the Cobra Kai. It kind of seems weird.
You would think he would be more against Kreese than fucking anybody.
I feel like Robbie would be the guy, like, he would be more like Daniel LaRusso in the original Karate Kid and go off on his own, like he did in the first season. Yeah, like where he didn't have but you know, I guess they're saying like they don't want to repeat what they did in season 1. But I feel like Robbie would be that guy now more than he ever has been, because like he doesn't trust anybody.
Yeah, dude. Like I think like for some fuck, I think it's just something with the, you know, I hated so much that he went to Kreese, but it's one of those things you really got to put yourself in the character's shoes and be like, man, like, he hates his dad, and some of that's for good reason. And like, even though we all love Johnny, that probably makes it worse that other people love Johnny so much. It probably makes Robbie hate him more. It's like, you guys don't understand what he did to me when I was a kid. Ray Gunner says the fact that Robbie not once the entire season asked about Miguel or shown any remorse seals the deal for me that he's a piece of shit. That's another thing too. But you got to understand at the same time, like, Robbie you're talking about a guy who made out with his girlfriend, who did treat him like shit, and who was trying to fucking kick his ass, and he accidentally kicked him off. That's why the show's so great. There's just a huge fucking gray area. Like, you can really understand where every single character's coming from.
It really is like, who are you down for? NWO Original or NWO Wolfpack? Who the fuck you got? But also, here's the thing. Robbie, I don't hate Robbie's character. I really don't. I'm just not as interested in Robbie's character as I should be. And I think that's maybe because there's not a catalyst behind it that makes me as interested in the other stories that are going on. The Miguel story, I'm very interested in, especially now that Daniel set him straight. Like, no, this is actually what happened between Johnny and I. Like, you heard one side of it. Now I'm going to tell you the actual side, or as far as I'm concerned, now he's got that information. I like that because Miguel is a lot like Daniel LaRusso. In 100, like they're literally carbon copies of each other as far as what they've been through, where they live, what they've done. And I feel like 100%, if you were going to remake the Karate Kid, you would cast that kid and his name would be fucking Daniel. And I could see it. Robbie is not a bad character. I just feel like you know what? And look, I know that a lot of people have mentioned it in the chat, Terry Silver, and they were like, yeah, that's who, Kreese was on the phone with. They were like, I saw this, and then she was like, he was on the phone with, yes, it's Terry Silver from Karate Kid Part 3. If they're going to get him in, that'd be awesome. I would have thought it'd be cool, though, if Terry Silver or Mike Barnes had become the guy that Robbie met after he got out of jail, and like they had a kind of a heart-to-heart or a one-on-one or something, and then that would have been his sensei going into the All Valley tournament. Yeah. Like he'd be on his own, but it'd be Mike Barnes from Karate Kid Part 3 or Terry Silver.
Mm-hmm. Well, it would have been an interesting way to go with it. It's crazy how they tie this all together. Like so, like as you mentioned, Kreese is on the phone at the end of the thing. Dude, let's talk about the last episode as a whole. That big fight scene. It was actually my favorite ending of all three. I know you like season 2. Season 2 had a great choreographed fight scene. I thought it was all crazy and it was cool and stuff. My season 3's ending was my favorite ending because you actually got to see Daniel fucking straight up fighting against Kreese. You got to see Johnny straight up fighting against Kreese. And it was even though you understand so much, so that's why I think Robbie's in a way is the heel here, because even though if you stop and you just think for a second, you totally get where Robbie's coming from. But while you're watching the show, when you know Johnny's intentions are good, so you're watching him try to be good to his son, and like you went to this fucking guy, and it seems like Robbie just tries to go to any guy he can to throw it in fucking Johnny's face. Like, oh, this is my new dad. This is my new fucking dad. And then when he goes to Kreese, it's like the biggest slap in the face that Johnny could fucking ever take in his entire life. And like that when Johnny and Kreese are fighting and that great scene's happening, whenever fucking Robbie would show up and like fight his own dad, I'd get so fucking pissed at him. Like, I'm like, God damn you son of a bitch.
That's your father. Pay respect.
But it's so good to do. But you finally got to see fuck all the kid shit. Like, I like it. It's good storylines. It's all great. I care about Miguel. I care about all these kids. It's all great. But you actually got to see a fucking fight, finally, between Daniel, Johnny, and Kreese. And it was fucking gnarly, dude.
Well, you know what? I think a lot of people have wanted for a while. And I don't know, maybe at the end of season 4, I can kind of see it happening that way. Much like we got the ending in Rocky 3. Johnny and Daniel fighting each other, and then they're like ding, ding, and then they kind of circle each other, and then it goes to black. Maybe so, because I think that's what they want to see. Johnny and Daniel have a rematch. They want to see that, especially now that Johnny's learned a lot more about what he can do versus what he did know back then. But yeah, the Kreese fight between the three of them, that 3-way fight was really cool. Robbie's just got an annoying face. That's the problem. When you see Robbie, you're like, he just looks like he smelled a fart. Yeah. And that he's going to blame it on somebody else. And he looks like a bully. I mean, honestly, and I hate to say that, but he does. He kind of looks like a guy that would put gum in your hair on the bleachers at 6th grade in the morning. He's like, I don't put gum in your hair and then fart in your mouth.
It's just the truth.
And then, he's constantly blaming Johnny for everything, which, I mean, he does have a reason to. He hates Johnny, and I get that. But the fact that he continuously goes out to people that he knows that his dad hates. Yeah. And I'm not saying he knows all the time that he hates him, but he knows that he's had a problem with
And if I was in his position, I may do the same thing. Maybe we all would.
But the fact that he goes to the Kreese, I mean, I know that he talked about Kreese, and I know he talked about Daniel. And he goes to these people, and he's like, that's right. He's going to teach me things you've never thought about before. Like, bitch, you ain't going to get no more gift cards. I'm never going to take you on a, in your case, dad-daughter date.
But we as the audience have the privilege of seeing all the things Johnny's been doing to try to become a better man. Robbie hasn't. So that's why, like, it's kind of hard to,
that's what really I mentioned earlier. The fact that, we know that Johnny's actually a piece of shit. In a lot of ways. I mean, he is. I mean, you don't get to see those moments that he abandoned his kid. If you want to talk about Johnny as a good guy, Johnny is a funny guy. He's relatable in a lot of ways, but he wasn't always this way. At the very beginning of episode 1, you see what kind of loser he was. He didn't give a shit. He lived in a rundown apartment. He drank all the time. He didn't give a shit that he had a son or he had an ex-wife. He didn't care about any of these things. And that's really the reality of what Johnny is. Johnny's trying to make up for that, but here's the thing. You can't do that in 2 years and expect that your son that you've abandoned his entire life to immediately like embrace you in a Field of Dreams hug.
Yeah.
But I just feel like Robbie, the character, like you can't keep, and that's the only thing I'm going to negatively say against the show. You can't keep digging in constantly with this character. You know, like you got to go somewhere else. Like you got to have some kind of other motive behind Robbie and what he's doing than just, I hate my dad and fuck life. Let me listen to some POD and set up my room and
I see what you're saying. Like it's a little bit. Maybe it's time to move on. Maybe push that character arc a little bit forward. That's always
in a way. And I'm not saying that they should abandon it, but I mean I'd rather focus on Miguel.
Yeah, I see exactly what you're saying, man. Mercurio80, thanks, buddy. He says seeing Kumiko and Allie again was awesome, and the actor that plays Robbie has a young John Travolta and Robbie Benson look. I can see that. Kumiko was great, by the way. My favorite part of that whole thing was when like LaRusso's like, "You're gonna leave me alone with this guy?" He's like, "Hey man, why don't you let me get you something to drink?" And he's like, "I don't drink. I'll have water."
That
like,
shit was fun.
No,
dude.
I'll get you a drink.
By the way, Kumiko still looked good.
Yeah, dude. I thought he looked great.
Like, they all look good. Yeah, man. I like that whole scene, that sequence. I think that what's gonna happen is that Chosen is that his name? Chosen's gonna come over in season 4.
Oh yeah, dude, because he has to help against the fucking new. To
help against Cobra Kai. I think he's gonna come over to help him. And then and here's the thing: what I'm holding out hope for, and I know people have kind of jokingly said, "What if this happens?" I think it'd be so cool, man. I think it would be such a completionist kind of Karate Kid saga. At some point in season 4 or season 5, obviously I want Terry Silver to be back and I want Mike Barnes. But to get Hilary Swank to come back, she was the last student of Mr. Miyagi in Karate Kid Part 4. To have her show up on either a cameo appearance in the All Valley tournament or actually show up and help along with Chosen, Johnny, and Daniel fight against Cobra Kai. I think that would be cool, dude. That would be all of Miyagi's students other than Johnny and Chosen in one house. I think that would be
what I'm really hoping for is that Will Smith's son can finally show up and just bring this baby fucking home.
And then
you know what I mean?
Jackie Chan super cops it in.
I'm kidding. But no, I agree. Dude, Hilary Swank showing up. I think it's inevitable to happen. I
don't know what she's doing now, but I mean, I'm not saying that she's not still a popular actress. I'm just saying I've not seen her in shit in a long time.
I think the show's so fucking good that as an actor, if you're watching it, you gotta fucking be like, yeah, I'll come back. Splash God, thank you for the super chat. Says Robbie almost killed Miguel and tried to fight him again. Sam had to push him. Like, damn, can you say sorry to Miguel? Really, they can kill Robbie already. I get that, but again, it's the gray areas of the show, and people want to fucking push the show aside, like, oh, it's a soap opera. It's a soap opera in the best of ways, but it's way better than a soap opera because there are so many fucking layers to it. And here's why: because like, if you gotta understand, like, I know that Robbie fucking kicked Miguel and almost ended his life. But what we gotta understand is Miguel was trying to fucking fuck Robbie up really bad, and he only at the last second turned around. Robbie shows up. He's been to fucking jail. He's gone, or man, I don't know, he hasn't been to jail yet, but he's gone through all this shit. He shows up, and all of his worst fears are confirmed. Robbie trusted Sam. Even though people were saying she made out with Miguel at that fucking party, Robbie still trusted her. And he still said, you don't know what you're talking about. She wouldn't have done that. Mid-fight, he stood up for her. He's like, she wouldn't have done that. Robbie was trying to do the fucking right thing, and then all of a sudden Miguel shows up, starts attacking him, and then once he finally sees her again, they're cutesy hugging and making out, and he's thinking, my life has been fucking ruined. I'm hunted by the goddamn police. My fucking whole life is in shambles, and I show up here to the one friend I think I have, and every single thing I defended you for, you're fucking out here in this backyard doing right now with this kid.
I get it, man. And I would have been, it's an act of passion, but at the same time, I would tell Robbie, stop breaking the law, asshole!
Get in the fucking Dodge Caravan and move the
Robbie,
fuck on, dude. Get
Robbie
out of here.
did break the law. Robbie knocked the fucking guy off the fucking railing.
But he didn't mean to fucking do that.
Yeah, but either way. And
that could have happened to anybody in that fight, man. Anybody in that fight.
He's also a fugitive. He ran away. He needs to go to jail.
As you do.
He's a fugitive. And that's what he is. He's breaking the law. And and here's the thing: you just knocked the fucking guy off. He's walking again. I'm not saying it's okay for what he's doing, but I'm not gonna the guy's fucking limping. He's not all there. I'm not gonna try to fucking fight him.
Well, just look, dude. Okay, so a guy makes out with your girlfriend. You get in a fist fight. The guy is trying to beat you. The guy initiates the fist fight. He's after making out with your girlfriend. He's trying to kick your ass. You accidentally severely hurt him. Okay. Accidentally severely hurt him. Didn't mean to do it. He was trying to fight you.
But he said he was sorry too. He said he was trying to let go. Like he basically said that at the end of season 2.
Yeah, but man, human beings can only ask to fucking put up with so much.
Well, I mean,
he's not
I don't know. I mean, it's like let go of your swell penis. Like, you don't have to prove anything.
I think a lot of us would have kicked. Look, I don't think he meant to hurt him, and I don't think any of us would have. But I think there's a lot of us would have fucking kicked that kid too. Maybe not meant to kick him off the stairwell, and I don't think Robbie did either. But a lot of us would have fucking got pissed.
Well, I don't like to fight. So if somebody was like, "I'm sorry, man," I'm like, "All right." I mean, all right. I don't want to fight either. This is stupid. I don't want to get expelled.
Robbie gets on my nerves sometimes, but honestly, I see exactly where the fuck the kid's coming from. I really do. That's all I'm saying. Marco,
I just think the whole idea is like you're basically like you're trying to fight a fucking just come back crippled kid. I mean, what kind of piece of shit are you? You're a skank. Like, I know he's making out with your girl and shit, and that sucks. But I mean, I've seen Dear John. I mean, what's his name? Fucking Channing Tatum didn't beat up that guy on the wheelchair.
I don't think it matters, dude. If you find somebody making out with your girlfriend after all the shit you've been through, you're gonna want to punch him in the fucking face.
Well, it's true, but at the same time, that guy was a fucking criminal. It's like one guy that we know coming back from high school to be like, "Hey, that's my girl, dog. That's my girl from high school." Like, yeah, it was.
It's a hard. That's why it's such a great show. Marco Villatoro, thanks, buddy. Says, can we address the other elephant in the room with Mr. Miyagi having some secrecy about the moves he didn't teach Daniel, which came in handy at the end?
I did like that. But I like the fact that Mr. Miyagi held it back because there was no reason to teach. Even Chosen says that there was no reason to teach him because you're not really in a life or death situation. I did like that. I thought it was a pretty good like a writing technique to show that Mr. Miyagi always said to Daniel, even in the Karate Kid trilogy, that karate was about defense, not attack. So why would he teach Daniel that shit? Mike, you're muted.
Yes, I was muted.
I thought you were cursing me out on Jerry Springer.
You motherfucker! You don't you ever go over my head again?
That's something about my motherfucking mother one fucking time ever.
I think, but them going all the way back, like I think the show realized, and that's why the writers are so great. They realized they needed to go way, way back and just give a little nugget of the old Miyagi style, and I think that was just a nice touch, man. It was perfect.
Do you think that that move was used in season 3? So do you think it sets it up for like in season 4 that they're going to teach that move in the Miyagi
he used it at the end. He used it against Kreese.
But you think that it's going to be used as the tournament winner type of crane kick in the All Valley tournament in season 4?
Could be. I liked how I think if they don't, they don't, but they did it in a great way with that infight when Kreese is fucking him up and then Daniel like strikes him with that new shit, that new, and then Kreese is like, I can't move my fucking arms. Like, what did you do? Like, that was fucking cool, man. That was awesome.
I'll tell you what, man. Honestly, like I love the Mandalorian. I love the Mandalorian. But Cobra Kai, dude, honestly, right now I'm looking at it. The Sopranos is the #1 TV show. Cobra Kai is #2 for me. It just is. It's such great TV.
I'm on the exact same fucking level, man. My favorite TV shows of all time are now as follows: fucking The Sopranos, Breaking Bad, Cobra Kai's in there, Rescue Me, very fucking underrated. Rescue Me's in there. Fucking amazing show, man. Wildman Beyond says, I want Johnny and Mike Barnes to go at it to see who's the real better man.
That
in
would
Cobra
be great.
Kai. Mike Barnes,
that's what I want to see.
Your Cobra Kai is a joke, Lawrence.
Hey, dude, the thing about I saw an interview with the guy that played Mike Barnes. I don't know what I'm sorry, I don't remember what YouTube channel I watched it on, but he had mentioned that they wanted a guy that would intimidate Daniel LaRusso or actually just intimidate Ralph Macchio, and he was the guy that they picked. The thing about him, though, is they asked him in the interview, they said, do you think that you and Johnny would have been friends in high school, if it had happened that way? And he was like, probably not, because he's like, here's the thing about Mike Barnes versus Johnny Lawrence. Johnny Lawrence was a rich kid. He came from a rich, area, and he was a country club guy that knew karate moves. Mike Barnes is more of a solo type of dude that does destruction when he's paid for it. So he was like, he's like, the character of Mike Barnes probably wouldn't have got along with Johnny at all. They wouldn't have been teammates. They would have been like, he'd be like, you're stepping on my shit. I only fucking fuck you up if they pay me enough.
Yeah.
And like Johnny's more about like, he wants to do it because he's a, kind of a bully in a lot of ways. But yeah, dude, to see Johnny Lawrence and Mike Barnes battle it out, I would love to see that just as much as I would see Daniel and Johnny.
Man, fuck, the show needs that. Like that would, how cool. Like, and the more and more we talk about this, like we talked about this last time, and I was like, I think maybe the show has 2 seasons left because eventually you're going to go too hardcore. When you get to a point with shows like this where, like, okay, this character has been through an excruciating amount of shit, and he's overcome it, and he's overcome it, and he's overcome it. You can't keep putting the same people through shit over and over and over again. Eventually, it turns into like a joke of itself, But what I think actually more and more we talk about this, more and more I think this could go a season or 2 further than maybe 4 more seasons. I don't know, because what I would love to see is Johnny, for some fucking reason, have to be the main fight. Because I think we can all admit Johnny's our favorite character of the whole fucking show, man. Yeah. I think he's the best character in the show. So I think if you have a whole season leading up to a fight at the end of the season with Johnny versus whether it's Kreese in a tournament or it's whatever, however you do that, if you have Johnny as the guy who has to fight the whole last episode, it's not all the kids, it's not all that shit, it's Johnny one-on-one against somebody, man, I think that's going to really pull the old Lionheart Bloodsport strings.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're going to turn it into the tournament where they have to dip their gloves into glass like Tong Po and they have to have a final battle.
Like, what if Kreese kills Miguel's mom or some shit? I don't know. Fuck, I don't know.
I would like, I think that the best, I don't, it depends on what they introduce into season 4. Obviously, at the end of season 3, Kreese is on the phone, which everybody assumes is Terry. They know that Terry's going to come back for season 4. I mean, whether they got to get the original actor, right? I've not seen that motherfucker do anything since John Carpenter's Vampires. I'm sure he's been in other things, but I haven't seen him do a lot.
Just give him some time to get in shape,
The dude that plays Mike Barnes is in shape. That motherfucker looks like he hasn't aged day one. He was ready to go. He wants to be in the show. I'm sure he does. And he seems like such a nice guy, and he loves the lore of the Karate Kid. I think you got to get him in there somehow, and I think he knows it's going to happen. I think he's already been in contact or talks with the creators of Cobra Kai. He's already going to be in season 3 or season 4. Maybe the end of season 4, Mike Barnes comes in, because I think that Terry Silver will be like, hey, we need that guy. We need that guy to help us, give us the extra edge. Yeah. And Mike Barnes comes in as the third sensei or something. And I think that one of the coolest moments that could happen potentially in either season 4 or season 5 is the confrontation between Johnny and Mike Barnes, especially if Mike Barnes has technically taken, because we're led to assume that Kreese has taken Robbie under his wing. But what if it's Mike Barnes? Because Mike Barnes is closer in age to Johnny, takes Robbie under his wing.
And Robbie's had enough fucking wings, dude. Robbie has fucking had the Hooters All-Star Special amount of fucking wings. Like, I'm done with Robbie finding new fucking wings.
Well, Kreese is like a 90-year-old man. So, I mean, I think that Mike Barnes fits more of the role of the father figure, though, because Johnny Lawrence and him are basically the same age.
I think that would be just like flipping the script too many goddamn times with Robbie. I think in the next season, we need to see Robbie fucking just go back to his dad and like solidify that. Let's get that storyline done. Let's get it out of the fucking way. That's what I'd like to see.
Edward Santiago says it correctly. It'll be Barnes versus Johnny final fight. I think that'll happen. I think that'll be the finale for not just the season, but probably Cobra Kai itself. Like, I think that when they have those two guys go against each other, because you can't throw. Daniel's already beaten Mike Barnes. He's already done it. He did it in Karate Kid Part 3.
Right.
I think that you have Johnny and Mike doing it at the end, not in sex, but in a fight. I think that you've got like that ends the series. Like that's it.
I think you're right, man. So gets us a couple super chats here before we leave. Mercurio80 says Will Smith is an executive producer, so he might throw his kid in. That will be the death nail. That will be the death nail.
That reminds me of
Don't do
fucking
it.
Sal getting like that tattoo of Jaden Smith on his calf muscle because he lost the bet. Fuck that shit.
If Will Smith walks in and he's like, "Hey man, I think it's time to put Jaden in there," I hope that Johnny Lawrence walks in and he's like, "Quiet!" Like fucking puts that stupid baby to bed right there.
Hadouken!
Wildman Beyond says, "I want to see Chosen have a relationship with Johnny, since have him hang out with the OG Cobra gang, since him and Johnny had a grudge with Daniel. That would be cool. Even if it's like one scene where you have like a Falcon and the Winter Soldier type jokes going on there, like, yeah, he's a piece of shit, right? Yeah, high five. Yeah, that would be cool."
Dude, I would love, you know what? I don't know why, but what if Daniel had to like match up against Johnny, Chosen, and Mike Barnes and have to do like a training exercise against all three? You know, like maybe I'm not saying Mike Barnes would join his group, but I'm just saying like just in an off chance that would be badass. Like all the bad guys coming together versus Daniel, that would be cool as shit.
Yeah, dude, I'd be down. They could do nutty fucking shit with all that stuff. Wildman Beyond also says, "I want Johnny and Mike Barnes to go at it to see who is the real better man in Cobra Kai. Mike Barnes, your Cobra Kai is a joke, Lawrence."
Dude, that guy was scary as fuck when he said that. And then he was eating Daniel's fucking salad when he said that. Like he didn't just say that, he ate his food. And it's like, he goes, "I'll fuck you up and I'll fuck your bitch up too. And I'll fuck up your little tree store. Sign the papers, Lawrence."
Sign the papers.
By the way, the best bad guy, Johnny is awesome. Best, hands down, bad guy, Mike Barnes. All the way through, mercenary type of fucking, that's him.
Yeah.
It's Mike Barnes, man. Intimidating as fuck.
I can't fucking wait for season 4, man. And apparently they're 80% done with the scripts. But they're going to start shooting before they're done with all the scripts. So I can't fucking wait to see what happens, man. Either way, as we said, Cobra Kai season 3 fucking continues to goddamn nail it. Amazing fucking season. We're in the process right now of trying to get some interviews with some people from Cobra Kai. So make sure if you guys are new here, you subscribe, all that shit. We're going to try to do that. Got a lot of cool stuff coming. Tonight's been fun, man. I've had a good time.
Awesome, man. Yeah, nobody from Cobra Kai will ever show up on this show. So we're gonna get the knockoff brand called Bobra Bry, and we're gonna talk about a lot of things.
We'll see, man. We'll see. Steven Rott says Cobra Kai equals Power Rangers without the suits plus Zords. Look, man, like I understand. Like it's easy to like look at it from afar and like shit on it, but dude, this is a show. Like, just think of it. Like, hear me out here. This is a show in 2020, 2021 that is extremely popular. It doesn't at all try to cater to any kind of social justice stuff. Instead, it has its own almost code or mantra where like they just automatically, without trying to get pats on the back, are really good and really diverse. By the way, shout out Miss Aisha in this season. I don't know what happened there. But
she was there was an off story about her. She had some kind of car accident or something in the off season, and they just chose not to be able to bring her back.
Okay, I know that in the story they said that they could, but I did like when the one bully came back. She was like, "You might want to be nice to people because everybody knows karate now." That shit was
I'm not 100%, so don't run with that. I don't know, but I do remember reading like she wanted to come back, but they chose to move on without her. She was really upset about it. It sucks because she was a great character, but
yeah. But you know, it's easy to write the show off as soap opera stuff, but they're doing so many things in a year where almost nobody's doing the things that they're doing. Like, I understand it looks soap opera-ish, and I understand it's easy to look at it and judge it, but man, I feel like it's really fucking I don't know. I feel like it's a goddamn feat what they're doing with this show. The fact that it's so fucking good and it's not placating to anybody in 2020 and it's still fucking entertaining, and it just feels it's like the most authentic thing to come out of media in the past 2 years at least for me. This is for me. But
no, I mean Cobra Kai and the Mandalorian, they both are saying fuck the left, fuck the right. They want to make entertaining shows, and that's what they're doing. That's exactly what we needed for a long time. Don't be a pussy and bend the knee to the media or what's popular right now, because it's popular to say this one thing or it's popular to say this other thing. They're just making good programming. They're making good stuff. Yep. And they're not just catering to great ideas and showcasing those on their shows, they're also making sure they show the love to the fans of the original series. Like the fans of the Karate Kid are represented here. The fans of Star Wars are represented here with the Mandalorian and Karate Kid or Cobra Kai. That's why these shows are special, man. And the thing is, the people have spoken, because everybody is trying to make their fucking movies or their TV shows based on a political agenda or a political idea on this side or that side. Guess what? People don't want that shit. It doesn't matter how strongly you believe on the left or how strongly you believe on the right. They just want to be entertained. They want to make sure that the characters that are represented are exactly in line with the characters they grew up with. And they're doing that.
It's done so well. I feel like it was done on accident. They just made something out of love without trying to get pats on the back, without pandering, and it worked.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I think that they also loved the show and they love the people. They love the characters. I don't know if it was accidental. It might have been, like, as far as the success, probably, because I think the Cobra Kai creators were like, yeah, it was accidental whether the show took off, because they probably didn't even know themselves. Like, it was like, it's based on a fucking Karate Kid from the 80s.
Yeah.
Thing about it is, the thing about it is that Cobra Kai has done an amazing job, and they have made quality TV, and people besides on both sides of the aisle can get behind it. And I love it, man. I think it's one of the best shows out there. I think I rank it number 2 on my, if I had a top 10 list of greatest TV shows right now, it's in the 2.
It's pretty fucking all time, dude. Wild Man Beyond, thanks again, buddy. He says, I love how Tori became Sam's Mike Barnes.
That's true. That actually is true. That actually makes sense a lot.
I totally get where you're coming from there, man. So, guys, good night. It's been fucking fun. We had a lot of fun shit to talk about. We had some Halloween shit. We had from Cobra Kai shit. We had some movie news, some Batman shit. It's been good. Hey, if you had fun tonight, make sure you please subscribe, please like, please share, and please tune in again Wednesday night, 8 p.m. We're going to do this shit again, 8 p.m. Eastern.
By the way, we popped up to over 300 people. That was badass.
Did we get there? Did we get over 3?
I think so, or like a little bit over 3.
Close enough, at least. But fuck yeah, man. Thank you guys for, especially you 183 that are in here right now. Really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We love doing this, and we love partying with you guys, especially on a Monday night. Stephen Rott says, I didn't mean that as a bad thing. I want Power Rangers reboot totally similar to Cobra Kai. Imagine the fights.
That'd be amazing.
Totally get where you're coming from, dude. Yeah, totally. And if anything, Power Rangers should look at what they're doing with this and be like, fuck, we got a gold mine here. We should do that shit. Totally love it, man.
I would love it.
Good night, guys. We love you. Happy fucking Monday. We'll see you Wednesday night, 8 p.m.